What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cisco and Mike podcast. Today, we have two special guests. They're actually podcasters themselves, and we're going to bring some very unique topics and questions to today. So I know Mike is looking forward today. We got Isis and Eros joining us today. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having us, guys.
I know you guys are coming from...
near Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
Close by, man.
Thousand Oaks area?
Before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
More Sherman Oaks than Thousand Oaks, but Thousand Oaks is beautiful, dude.
Yeah, the valley. Do a lot of work in that area, so I know the drive, and I know the traffic, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's
So I
nuts.
appreciate you guys coming on Sunday.
A pleasure, man.
Of course.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
so you guys are podcasters as well. I know it's a little different. A lot of people don't know about the type of podcast you guys actually have.
Right.
Can you give a little insight to what that is?
So our podcast is called the Priory Society Podcast, and we are what you would call swingers. So we love to meet couples, a husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and we have sex with them. Like we do like a wife swap. A lot of people would call it a wife swap.
But not with anyone.
No.
Not with everyone.
We have some standards, okay?
It depends on how many jarritos and tequila you're offered, you
How
know?
many shots I had? No, but our podcast is about the lifestyle, quote unquote, the lifestyle. And that is really a spectrum of play styles for people who want to open up their relationships and explore their naughty side. And, sweetie, did you want to mention anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have questions about what it entails, but I mean, really, the woman who's curious and wants to do bisexual things,
Yeah.
and then the people who do wife swaps or group sex and that type of thing. It's like a room with a bunch of doors, and we can get to that. Let you guys know like what the typical styles are that we see out there. But yeah, we started recording because we really enjoy the lifestyle. It brought a different level of passion to us. But it's not for everyone. And I do want to make those disclaimers as we go through the podcast, because you have to do things a certain way, or it can be big trouble for your marriage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. Well, one of the reasons, we listened to a couple of episodes. One of the reasons we wanted to bring you in is because there's so many misconceptions.
Yeah.
And one thing we've learned from podcasting and meeting new people and talking to people is that sometimes there's this one-dimensional view, when there's so many aspects to it.
Yep.
And we wanted you guys to come on here and talk about it because just from the way you talked about it, even now, just a little bit of what you explained, that's one of the biggest misconceptions of marriage.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I know
it's important.
I know you had a question.
No, it was you hit it on the nail, bro. I mean, but we think alike, so we're like a yin and yang in here. But
For sure.
That's the same question I was gonna ask. How does that You guys actually took it to the next level and started a podcast. So to even come out and I'm sure to your family or friends, it might have been something different. And now to podcast, how is that?
Right, Sudi?
Yeah, well, we're not out to our family or friends.
Okay.
Well,
So
at least I'm not to my
it's a big
family,
secret.
friends. But
I have
it
a
is
good
secret.
relationship with my mom, and she's really funny.
Yeah.
So she'll mention things like on Christmas, she'll say, "Oye, ¿gastas para el intercambio de regalos?" O el intercambio. And then my mom would say something silly like, "A ver, ¿con quién me toca?" Like, who am I going to go with in the exchange? And I'm like, Mom, but I'm kind of used to it because she's always been pretty silly.
Yeah.
Yet her parents, very traditional. My wife's Middle Eastern.
Okay.
And there's a lot of parallels to Mexican and like traditional families.
Yeah.
Like they live together with the family for years. They don't move out that early, take care of each other.
Yeah, the girl lives with the parents until she gets married. I grew up Catholic, and so there's a lot of that, all the preconceived notions about what a traditional relationship should be, and how you're not supposed to lust after other people. And so there was a lot of growing that I had to do.
Very religious.
Yeah.
Her family and her private schools, Catholic schools. It's something you don't do. You're not even supposed to think about it.
Yeah.
But you guys know, and your listeners know, everyone's thinking about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very few people say anything. And that's also a big problem because you go through years in your matrimony and you're thinking, oh, my wife, she's a mommy. I would never because she would never. But yet you go to work and she's sitting there and pulls out the large dildos and a few of them.
Yeah.
And does an airlock. You know what an airlock is? Tell me what an airlock is. Tell me what an airlock is.
When all your holes are plugged.
Oh, shit.
Makes sense.
It's a naughty secret, you guys, and so many people fantasize about it. It's been about 5 years for us now. Really, 4 years solid. The first year was just fantasy, fantasizing, talking about it. And throughout these years, we've found that so many people would do it, if they had permission and they had a supportive spouse that encouraged them to have fun and be naughty, access their naughty side. So we've always said that people have the swinger gene, swinger DNA potential, if they had permission. You can ask anyone, if your wife supported you and you knew you wouldn't get in trouble, would you go with that hottie you were just staring at? And if you wouldn't get in trouble, the majority of the people would say, okay, that kind of checks everything off. I'm not going to ruin my marriage. No one's going to get pissed. In fact, my wife's going to encourage me. Then that's a beautiful thing. So it's just about getting the communication and the permission in place. But yeah, man, it was easy for us to do the podcast because we already had a recording place to do it. We'd always done business trainings, entrepreneurial trainings, so we had set it up for that. So we already had a mini studio set up. So it's just a matter of us having a lot of failed dates that were steamy and awesome. Like, we made a lot of beautiful friends in the lifestyle. Yeah. They kept telling us, you guys should do a show because your stories and your encounters, and we'd meet some characters, dude, like wacky people. Yeah, we can get into that if you want. But that's why we were driven to tell others about it, to kind of help save them some time and some trouble, and kind of steer them. Hey, step here, do this first, best practices, and that's what give back.
We had, like my husband was saying, about a year. Well, we were just going out, kind of meeting people and experimenting with different events and venues to experience the lifestyle. So we didn't play for the first year that we started the lifestyle. And we think back to all the hot couples that we missed out on. We could have had so many experiences, like really cool experiences, if we were ready. Like if we had had a podcast like ours to
listen
help learn the ropes and shorten someone's learning curve and just get to the fun quicker. So we wanted to give back to the lifestyle in that way, and it's been good. We get a lot of good feedback from people. It's like, I learned so much, and that's why we do it.
Cool.
Yeah. That's interesting. You brought up a learning curve. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you mean by that? Because there obviously it sounds like there's like this. I don't want to say rules to it, and you kind of talked about it earlier. But what is that learning curve? Because it's pretty tough when you're dealing with emotions and people.
That was my question. I was going to say, how do you guys handle the emotions? Like, I'm sure when you guys first thought about it, you guys were kind of like, well, fuck, I don't know if I want some other dude fucking touching my wife.
Oh, yeah.
Or vice versa, right?
Right.
So how did you guys break that, or how did you guys deal with that?
Yeah.
Well, we had a lot of rules in the beginning. So it was just a matter of going through some experiences and, like, talking through it. What worked for you? What did you like? What did you not like? In the beginning, I just said, babe, I want to try chicks. Because that's all I was comfortable
That was
saying.
a lie, by the way.
That was a lie.
She wanted to try dudes.
I wanted dick, yeah. But, so we were like, girl on girl for a little while. And then we're like, well, let's try what we call soft swap, which is usually any kind of play except for penetration. Like oral kissing, and then
make out stuff.
He'd be like, okay, well, if you suck a guy's dick, don't come over and kiss me. And
typical macho Mexican, like
I don't want his dick in my mouth.
I don't want any pre-cum
by proxy. And like we'd be going through a swing club, and we would stop at in the playrooms and watch people.
People are doing it right in front of you
at the club.
You have your drink, and you're watching them, and they'll invite you and. We were freaked out. We didn't want to.
I didn't want to stay and stare. And he's like, "Hold on, slow down. Let me, let's check it out." And so when we were playing with couples and meeting couples, we had all these rules, and then we just finally started to relax.
We found out, to answer your question specifically, once we relaxed our rules, it became really fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Because my wife would say to me, I want to try. Once she came
I was honest
forward
about
and said,
what I wanted,
I would love to try a dude and not just a chick. Now it turns out she doesn't really love chicks. She'll do it for the fun and this and that if she's attracted to the woman. There has to always be a little attraction. Then she realized, and she said, I'd be interested in another dude. And I'm like, well, I'd love for you to experience another dude. And she's like, well, I'd love for you to experience another woman. The little white girls you like. And I'm like, let's go. Let's do it. Let's check the schedule of the parties, man. And then we found the websites where everyone sets up a profile, right? Facebook style. Mm-hmm. Here's who we are, a bunch of pictures. Here's what we like. Here's what we do. So you have these websites out there. It makes it really easy to find people. The picture captures you, and then you can go ahead and continue a conversation, ask them out for a drink. A drink means really, if we hit it off, other stuff could happen. Never guaranteed, and we don't push for it, but we do believe there has to be some tactics behind it. Otherwise, it will go nowhere. You just chat all night.
Yeah.
So you have to, and this
Somebody
is what
has to make a move.
Absolutely. We talk about it in the podcast where it's from the business background, and you guys run a big business here, I can tell, from the building and everything. There's a strategy on, here's what we do, here's who we are. Let's close for a job. Let's go. What do you need an estimate? What are we doing here? Hi, I just, so you get to that point, it's kind of like a business sense in the lifestyle. It's like all sales and marketing, by the way. All dating is, by the way. And all your listeners know, if they're in the dating game right now, do they look okay? Can I handle their attitude?
Yeah.
Can I, they're not perfect, but can I have a great time with them? Same thing in the lifestyle. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, what were you saying? Because I interrupted you. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
I lost where my thought was going.
He'll hit you up with a question.
Yeah.
You didn't answer my question.
I know.
Here's what I...
No, it's funny because you guys are so open to talking about it, right?
Yeah.
And just sex in general is for a lot of people, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think it's very taboo, especially, coming from our traditional backgrounds.
Yeah.
And, one thing I've always said is that sex needs to be talked about more now.
Yes.
And to be accepted and just, kind of, I don't want to say the learning curve, but kind of throw things out there, like, hey, it's okay. You don't have to, just because you're having sex, it's not a bad thing.
Right.
We need to change the narrative on that stance.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's about honesty.
Absolutely.
When people ask us, is swinging cheating? And you don't have to cheat if you have permission from your spouse.
Exactly.
Why would someone cheat? I mean, people are having a lot of sex. I mean, we belong to private social clubs and attorneys, judges, stuff like that. Everyone's having sex with everybody. But it's all hidden. It's all
these
cheating.
Are like secret societies. Where
It's all cheating. Yeah, kind of. Well, we can talk. That exists, by the way.
Yeah, some of the guys at the clubs, they'll bring their mistress, and the staff knows. Like, they never say, "Hi, Mrs. So-and-so, nice to see you again." They just address the woman, in a kind of a neutral manner.
Yeah,
But I mean,
common.
it's common for people who are in positions of power, to or that have like high energy jobs that they're very highly sexualized, and some people are comfortable talking about it in the open, and some people just keep it hidden or repressed. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come in, because swinging isn't for everybody. You have to have a really open, honest line of communication and a lot of trust with your spouse. And when we started swinging, our relationship was wonderful. There was nothing wrong with it. But when we did get into it, I never thought that I could be closer to my husband than we already were.
Or feel more in love,
absolutely,
too.
yeah.
It just intensified all the wonderful feelings.
All the good
about
things.
it.
Was there a specific thing that did that, though?
Knowing that we were as honest as we could be with each other. No secrets.
Yeah.
If a listener's out there thinking, wow, if I could talk about late bills or things that are happening in my life, or maybe I'm not feeling well or something, if I felt like I could just show my heart and be completely congruent and honest with my mate, that elevates. You become so close to each other. It's a beautiful thing. So the lifestyle did that for us, and that's one of the reasons why we continue to talk so good about it. We want to share it with others in a nice way. We tell people it's not for everybody. You have to have strategy, but when you get it, it's a lot of fun, man. And I want people to imagine this. When you're going to play in the lifestyle, we spin up the machine. We say, okay, we have a weekend free.
Right.
Let's play in the lifestyle. Let's have some fun. Let's find a couple, right? Let's go out for drinks or whatever. Let's go get a hotel. We spin it up, we turn it on, and we're in the lifestyle for that evening. Once that evening is done, the other couple leaves, we're back to mom, dad, work, catch up on emails. We're back to normal. The lifestyle doesn't consume your life, and it shouldn't. Right. It's something you do for a little while, and then you're done for the evening. And then you can spin it up anytime.
Is the lifestyle purely sexual for you guys, or just period in general?
Sweetie, what's your perspective? I know you have a good one on it.
Yeah, so it's partly sexual, mostly sexual, I would say. And then there are like friendships that we've developed with couples that we've played with. So there's also an emotional connection to them where we've met them several times. I mean, like 20 times. Like, go out, have dinner, go to a hotel room, have some fun, or separate hotel rooms, and have some fun for the evening.
That's the fun.
Yes.
That's
separate room.
Borders on what's called polyamory.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that we're kind of right up against it, where the polyamorous people, they'll move in with each other, bro.
Yeah.
Like there'll be a few couples living in a house, and they'll
Full-on
like
relationship.
Yeah, like, Tuesday is night with Bill, and Wednesday is with Kara, and they're having full relationships. That's something that we haven't gone into. We have dear friends that we travel with, go to Vegas with. They visit us in Mexico when we're there working, and they'll show up. We'll go to 2 separate hotel rooms. We'll start with drinks, of course, right?
Yeah.
We'll go off to 2 separate hotel rooms. My wife and I will communicate, hey, in about 90 minutes, we'll touch base, see where we're at.
Check in.
Oh, we're finishing up. Get together again, snacks, drink, whatever, and then separate again. Or go to dinner, come back, separate again, whatever. But we have couples that we do that with. That's not polyamory. That's just friends with benefits.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like we're not in an emotional relationship with them. They're friends, so if they need help, if they're in a bind, if we can help them somehow, absolutely we will. But it's not a full-on relationship. Just
Now,
good friends.
is swinging the same as being in an open relationship? Or is that totally different?
There's nuances there. So
Yeah.
do you want to go?
No, you go. Take
Okay.
it.
So swinging is just an umbrella term for a lot of things that happen. An open relationship is a must if you're going to swing. So you need to be at a point to where you say, let's open up this marriage. I'm okay with you playing with a girl, with another guy. I'm okay with that. As long as, and it's not always equal, like you might think, gosh, if she's going to go play, I need to play.
Yeah.
I need to have fun too. There's a lot of men out there that get the same amount of emotional fulfillment having their wife go out and play and just coming back and hearing all about what they did. For them is enough so that they can feel that it was equal. Yeah. She went out and had fun. That's like a hot wife scenario. Yeah. She becomes a hot wife to another man. And then the man doesn't have to play, and he's very happy with that. So it's either a stag vixen couple, a stag and vixen, or hot wife couple where just the woman is allowed to do whatever she wants. We're in our realm is full swap. Yeah. So we'll find a couple, we'll swap with them, but we're both playing at the same time. Not always in the same room, not always on the same bed. Same bed sucks, by the way. If you guys are, if you guys are, I don't know which camera, you have so many in here. But if you guys are going to experiment in the lifestyle, you need 2 beds, okay? Because what you watch on porn with all the super hot people, super hot bodies, really pretty people, is not the norm when you're swapping with someone you met at El Pescador or
is that what they mean?
Yeah, these are just regular people, a couple you met at Walmart in line. They don't all have the ultimate Hollywood body and the smile and the fresh breath. And so you don't want to be, especially like when I make love to my wife or to my favorite, which is like a little white girl. Like I'll make love to a typical Mexican rhythm.
Yeah.
So like just think of da dun da dun da dun da dun da dun. That's my pelvis rhythm.
Yeah.
When I get to the end, and then at the end, dun dun. And then
he falls over.
Yeah. So
we go at different speeds.
You don't want to be. We made an episode about this. Swingers need 2 beds. Why? And we talked about it, of course. But the big one is the rhythm. You got the guy who's slow. Wants to look at my wife, man. I mean, a guy would say, I want to kind of make love to her almost. Yeah. And a lot of people in the lifestyle, the husband will tell you, I want you to do my wife. I don't want you to make love to my wife. Like, don't get all passionate.
Fuck my wife.
Just give her a good time. Yeah. And let me watch my wife in action because she's my #1 porn star. Like, she's everything to me, my best friend. I want her to have an amazing time. Take care of her. Don't do all this slow stuff, right? So there's some guys that will tell you, don't be lovemaking here. But that's the issue, though, because when you're in a one bed, and you have me, like Speedy Gonzalez style, right? I get into a musical journey with a woman if she's beautiful. You guys know that the #1 song for Mexican parties, El Sonidito?
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a keyboard with only 3 keys.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm moving. That's in my head, dude. Since I was, young, Mexican. So that's how I do it. And then you got the other guy going slow. Does it one bed? Not good.
Yeah. We work hard at everything, bro.
Right? Dun, 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 dun.
It's crazy food that I've always compared, like having sex or fucking. I always go back to one of my favorite movies growing up, American Pie. At the end, they all make love or fuck different ways, right? So you got the food that fucks the MILF, right? Yeah. And obviously that's fucking, right? That's a fantasy.
Yeah.
And then you got the love making, which is they're making love by the fucking lake or whatever, and it's like passionate,
right?
And then you got the other one where it's like crazy, like say my name, bitch, right? And then who else fucks in that movie? Oh, and then you don't know shit, like, so which style do you want to do it? I don't know, like the normal. So I'm always comparing shit like that, absolutely. Like it's crazy how sex is just different.
Yeah.
And
well, most of the time, what happens with us is let's say we're with a couple in our hotel room, we're having drinks, and we do our icebreaker. We call it the club sandwich. I don't know, should I give that away?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good icebreaker.
Yeah, how is that? Pretend we are, well...
pretend you're an awesome couple.
You're trying to break the ice.
Well, so we came up with this because one of the most difficult things in the lifestyle when you're at a meet for the first time is the transition. Somebody is there.
From the chit-chat to the sensual stuff.
To the play. Yeah. Somebody is always scared to make a move, to ask, like we say, go for the close. Say, hey, you guys ready to play? Are you feeling the vibe? Is the chemistry there? You guys want to fuck? People are scared to say that because you're dating again, but you're dating other couples now for the first time. So a lot of those, when you started dating back in the day, a lot of the insecurities are there. People are afraid of rejection.
Do I go in for the kiss? Is this the right time? Is this too soon?
What is she like? They're overthinking a lot of things. So we have an icebreaker we call the club sandwich, and it's a dance move where the girls are in the middle facing each other, and the husbands are behind the women swapped. Okay.
Behind the other wife.
Yeah. So we'll usually we have some music. I mean, we set up our room. We call it Sensual Sanctuary. We did 3 episodes on that.
Dim lights, sensual lighting, reds, blues, purple effects.
Setting the mood.
Bring the lights down. Hotel daytime. Close the blackout curtains. Make it dark.
Yeah.
If we're in Vegas, the strip is in the background. Looks amazing.
Yeah.
Music, reggaeton, or something like that, salsa that's kind of movable, that makes you want to...
Anybody can dance to or move to.
Yeah, and then the club sandwich, man. And we stopped calling it the club sandwich because we would tell the couples, hey, do you want a club sandwich? And, do you have mustard? Do you get a foot long?
No bacon?
You got tapatio or Coluna?
Exactly.
Yeah, I got it right here, baby.
Yeah, I got it here.
I got my chile right here.
So we'd call it the... oh, by the way, my wife, I told you she's Middle Eastern, but she speaks more Spanish than Arabic. So if you throw some stuff out in Spanish, she can respond to it. But yeah, so the club sandwich, the ultimate icebreaker, is just a dance move. It allows people to hear the music, get lost in the music. The lights are dim. The chit-chat is done because when you dim the lights, it's no longer a time to, hey, so tell me about your first experience. Hey, tell us about... It's like, okay, let's touch now.
It's sexy time.
So you touch, and then the girls start dancing in the middle, the guys, and then you start doing your touching, and then I'll usually tell the guy, hey, feel free to touch my wife wherever you want. I think my wife is cool with that, honey. Are you? And then she'll give the consent, like, oh yeah, of course, I love it. And then he'll say something similar. Before you know it, I'm like pulling down the woman's skirt or whatever, and this is where at that point. There's 2 separate beds in the room. I'll just bring her over, or I'll turn her around. We'll kiss. We're always testing the waters because we wouldn't be there if the attraction wasn't there. So we already screen them. They're already cool. Their play style matches ours. We talk about all this, by the way. You don't just want to meet someone and assume that they're full swap. It could be a girl-on-girl couple. And you're sitting there going, dude, I canceled the game for this. These girls just rub their boobies. It's like, that's not fun. So once we're in the scenario and we go to the 2 separate beds, I'll usually remove all her clothes and, get started with that quick because why delay it? I mean, we usually have things going on. Either our nannies have to leave, or we have childcare, or we're in Vegas and we have a dinner reservation and it's 2 p.m. We have to show up to the restaurant at a certain time. We don't have time to do a full-on, let's get to know each other. And we tell them that. We say, hey, we have a dinner reservation. We do a little time distortion. And then that kind of speeds things up because there are a lot of people who literally will go really slow. They'll want to meet you one time for drinks, go back, meet you again later, and it'll take forever.
Is that because this is their first time doing it, or they're not that experienced, or?
I think it's just comfort, right? Being
it's a number
comfortable.
of things, I mean,
that's part of
those
it.
are all reasons,
Okay.
People are just slow to play too, but here's the biggest thing in the lifestyle that we've discovered is that people are scared to flaunt their naughty side. They're scared to admit that they would love to have fun. And this is why you get emails that say, how you guys doing? And we're in Vegas, and we put up a posting that says something like, we're in Vegas, we're feeling naughty, looking for a nice couple to have drinks with. And, we already told you drinks means let's have a drink, and if something happens, if we feel the vibe, we'll go to the room. We put up that posting. It's usually a rendezvous or a speed date. Looking for a nice couple for naked time. Happy to host at Caesar's Palace or come to you. Let's start with a drink and go from there. They're responding to that. It's very comprehensive. And they hit us with, how are you guys doing? So there's no flirty momentum.
Yeah.
We're big on this. We tell our listeners all the time, sexy velocity. Flirty momentum you create in the chat. Yeah. Oh, so you guys are full swap? Oh, cool. Well, my wife thinks she loves shoulders. She loves, strong dudes. She loves, you have a nice smile. Like that's flirty momentum. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the next level of flirting. Yeah. Once the flirty momentum is there and it's feeling naughty, when you're in person, you step up the sexy velocity. Mm-hmm. The woman would sit next to me. She'll put her arm on my leg. She'll be playing footsies with me. She'll take off her high heel and start rubbing it up and down my leg. She intensifies it. I'll ask her questions. I'll have a conversation with her. Before you know it, that sexy velocity leads to, let's go up to the room.
Yeah.
Hey, are you guys interested in coming up to our room? I'll show you the view. It's a really nice view. Stupid. They know, we know, everyone knows. Yeah. But a lot of couples need permission. They need to be kind of, not told, but they need someone to open the door wide. Yeah. Like you don't open the door a little bit and say, so we're here. It's like you need to open up the door and kind of escort them through the small of their back. Would you like to come in here? Would you like to do this, basically? Yeah. So would you like to go upstairs and make another drink? We have a little bar set up.
Here's a picture of our bar.
Dude, it looks like you guys already have it. Yeah. We'll do bottles. We'll call it a level 2 bar. Yeah. A couple bottles, 3 bottles or something. Mixers and lights and... so they come up, we make a drink, and then that's where the icebreaker comes in. Yeah. Usually, we'll make a dear friend from that session. Sometimes, if we're in Vegas, because we go there a lot, if we're in Vegas, we'll have a session, and if it was really good, really fun, we usually give ourselves, hey, were you good? Thumbs up, quick thumbs up. Yeah. Oh, that was fun. I'll do it again. Yeah. We usually tell them, hey, we're good on time. Do you guys want to play again since we're all here? Just take a little break, relax. Or we'll become dear friends with them. Mm-hmm. And we'll just meet them. Hey, when are you guys going to be there again? You want to come to LA? We'll get you a room, come to the house, whatever. Yeah. And this is how we've made a lot of friends in the lifestyle to where we'll just go to 2 separate hotel rooms sometimes. 2 separate casino properties sometimes. With some of our favorite trusted go-to couples. But there's all kinds of hang-ups, man. People in business, you've experienced it, bro. People have hang-ups with everything. Mm-hmm. So, of course, they bring who they are into the lifestyle. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they'll start putting up obstacles. So. Gotcha. Anyway, but there's ways to combat it.
So I want to ask you something, both of you guys.
Yeah.
Earlier you talked about insecurities. Yeah. Obviously, I feel like insecurities kind of hold us back. Mm-hmm. Jealousy, just comparing. Yeah. How has that benefited you guys as individuals? Thinking like, okay, is this guy better than me, or dropping that jealousy. Right. Especially because in our culture, machismo and jealousy and
Latino cultures.
Yes.
Middle Eastern, same.
A very male dominant, macho type of culture. Women are typically more submissive. Mm-hmm. Middle Eastern cultures.
It really comes down to what we call your inner game and your internal confidence. If you have found your forever spouse, your wife, I'd like to do a very quick few second exercise with the listeners. I want you to take a look at your timeline, right? If you're 20 years old right now, you're going to be hot, you're going to be okay, you're going to be doable till like you're 55, 60. But if you're already 40 and you're going to be más o menos doable, maybe not as hot, body starts suffering, things start going on, you injure yourself, you can't perform, something happens, your useful sexual life where you could try the lifestyle is limited. Yeah. So I'd like for the people to think to themselves, how much time do I have in useful where my erection works well, where I feel good about it? And then how much time is it going to take to talk to my wife about it? Right. That's going to take forever. Oh, she's going to kill me if I bring it up. So it compresses everything. Similar to business. Like, geez, I want to come up with a business idea. Dude, I'm already 40. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's get it. Let's come up with a plan. Mm-hmm. So swinging is no different. But if you're talking about jealousy, it's the same situation that happens in business. Because if you're going to be jealous in a relationship, you probably don't feel you're good enough to start a business. You probably think you're going to fail. You probably don't think you're going to be able to get customers. You probably suffer from some kind of imposter syndrome. Why would customers choose me over that other huge company that does this heavy civil work? Or why would they choose my company to lay a foundation when, gosh, these companies have been together they've been around for 40 years and their engineers are world renowned. Why would they pick me? Same thing, guys. It has to do with our internal dialogue and our self-esteem. If we work on that first, the lifestyle will be amazing, because we have found, and sweetie, add to this if you feel inspired to, because we have found that people listen to our podcast and they say, dude, you've helped me in business. Because we're telling them how to get better at their conversation with their spouse so that they can get it to that point to where they can talk about it.
Sure.
And we have something called the TV show method, and TV, where you watch a show together that has swinging or swapping or whatever, and you ask your wife, hey, sweetie, are they crazy or are they onto something? Would you ever? Are these guys? What do you think? Hey, if you had a hall pass, which one of those dudes? If you had a hall pass, it's all good. You go and come back, all good. You start the conversation, right? Yeah. But really, it comes down to your inner game, man. For everything we're doing, in anything, from lifestyle to business. To teaching your kids, man, to relating with your neighbors. Hey, you need to cut that tree. You know, how do you do it in a tactful way? Because you live there, you know, mortgages, you'll be there for years. Same thing, guys. The jealousy is huge. If you can dominate that, jealousy is usually a symptom of someone feeling unfair.
Right. Unsatisfied somehow.
Right. Like, for example, my wife might feel jealous if we meet a couple and the woman is super hot and the guy is not. So we call them steering wheel couples. Yeah. She's a 10, he's a 2. How you drive in the driver's ed, right? These are steering wheel couples. She might feel a little cheated, like, hey man, this guy,
short end of the stick.
It didn't stay hard, or he had the goatee and was like chafing my whole everything, or what he saw in a video someplace and he thought that's the way you're supposed to do it, you know, with the whole hand. You guys know the silent duck? Are you familiar with a silent duck?
No, what is a silent duck?
That's like, looks like a duck. So the silent duck is, you need to start slow. You can't just, you know, small, right? You know, those are people that do weird stuff, like they're into like fisting. So they have to start with a silent duck. Slow. But so guys have, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up the silent duck, but it's a technique you can use, I guess. But really, jealousy comes from an imbalance. If everything was equal, jealousy couldn't exist, because you had a great time and so did the love of your life. And now you're back together. The lifestyle has spun down. It's gone away. Now you're back to normal. You're back to doing your own thing. And everyone had fun. If that can be achieved, then jealousy couldn't exist there.
And I have to say that some people get into the lifestyle because they're trying to fix their relationship. There might have been cheating, or somebody was jealous about something, and they said, well, let's make it fair. You can, you know, fuck this guy and that guy. And so for some couples, they're starting out because of jealousy or because of an issue, and that's an absolutely wrong thing to do.
Or because of cheating.
So swinging is not something you try to fix your relationship. You have to have a solid relationship.
It's not revenge.
Correct. It's not revenge, and it's not a Band-Aid. You have to have a solid foundation. So for us, the jealousy wasn't there because we have open lines of communication, and my husband knows there's no one that would match him or be superior to him in my eyes. And in the beginning, one of the mistakes I made was looking for someone like my husband.
Right.
And I wasn't attracted to anybody in that sense because, like, well, nobody, I'm like, what do you bring into the table? If I'm going to share myself with you, you've got to be, you know, you've got to be a pimp. Like my husband, business, successful, badass suit, you know, like look the part.
Oh, we said that,
Yeah.
Thank you. I forgot I was in the room for a second. I was like,
what's she talking about?
She's talking about the other dude she was with the other day?
No, my husband is my king, and he knows that. We make sure that we make that clear to each other all the time. So for us, jealousy, it came up a little bit when certain situations were like didn't pan out equally, like where the guy wasn't performing well, and I would, you know, I was just kind of like, okay, I'll like pass the time because I don't want to ruin the experience for my husband. He was having a good time. I'm like, well, I want him to have fun. So I kind of bit my tongue a little bit and just
we argued.
The night go up. Yeah.
We argued a few times.
Yeah.
Because she would say something like, hey, why didn't you, like, didn't you see me when I was going like this? Let's wrap this thing up. I'm ready to go. Because I don't want to continue with a guy who just...
Can you finish, please?
Right. And we had some arguments. Never anything bad, but it was usually about an imbalance.
Yeah. And so the imbalances can be there. But in terms of like my husband was talking about, your inner game. That's the common denominator in all areas of life: swinging, dating, confidence. You know, the attitude that you put forward. That's very attractive. So we look for that in couples. And when we started the lifestyle, in terms of confidence, my personal confidence went through the roof because, you know, I had my own insecurities. Well, my body, my thighs, I'm too thick, I'm too this, I'm too that. But, and I would see the wives of these couples that we would meet, or the chicks that would walk around in the clubs with the mini skirts and
super skinny chicks.
Super skinny, size, like flackies, size 2 or whatever. I'm like, I don't look like that. Their man's not going to want me. But what we quickly found out is that people want to experience a variety.
And guys love thick.
Yeah.
With 2 C's.
Yeah,
for sure. They love thick.
Yeah.
And if they have a skinny wife, then they look at my wife, they're like, damn, okay, that's all right. Yeah. We'd love to join you in your room to check out the view and to take pictures at the Vegas Strip, whatever gimmick we're using to get them up there, make another drink.
Yeah.
But so my wife had the insecurities about her body image that she's had since she was little. We started. One thing about the lifestyle is that when you see potential, about half of our listeners don't play in the lifestyle. You guys, they tell us, they write us all the time. We just love to hear the stories because we live vicariously through what you guys do. That's enough for us. They've had like the best relationship and the best sex, hottest, just talking about it. So we tell people all the time, if you can just intensify your relationship to where you're able to share more secrets that we all have, and you're able to share them freely, you never have to go live. You never have to play with anyone else. You can just fantasize about it.
And talk about that openly, your fantasies.
At the day clubs, at the clubs. Oh, remember that girl in the white dress? She danced with you a little bit. Oh, remember the guy? What would you do? And we would make drinks, and we would sit at home, or we would light cigars. We love cigars, man. Do you have any here today?
You know what? I might have one.
Oh, well.
I might have one, but I don't have a cutter. You guys can have it.
We have to share.
Oh. Maybe we'll have to do a return visit.
Yeah, for sure.
If you'll have us.
Of course.
After this talk. After this talk, they'll be like, que se vayan aquí. Let's wipe down this thing with saca el fabuloso, güey.
No, this is honestly, like I said earlier, like, being able to talk the way you're talking, being open, it's huge. It's important, not just in the bedroom or in a relationship, but just in general. Being able to accept our insecurities, like you said, being able to accept them and grow from them, and just taking situations away.
Yeah.
So,
I have a question because it came to my mind. I've been wanting to ask you guys, but
sure.
You guys have been great talkers. Great, you guys, the knowledge you guys are dropping is awesome.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Who brought it out first? Who came up with the you said earlier, you mentioned about maybe watch a show. Like
she's raising her hand.
How it happened?
She
did it, but it was a result of us going to our anti-aging doctor.
Correct. Yeah.
So we told you about a private club in downtown LA, private social club. People go there, beat traffic, they go have a drink, hang out.
Network, have meetings and all that, but
there was a guy with his hot girlfriend. He was like 50 years old, ripped, nice suit, looked sharp, right?
Did competitions, like bodybuilding.
Did bodybuilding, the board short competitions, like super fit. Hot girl, she was like 45, almost 50. Hot. They were like amazing. And we would fantasize about them. We'd say, hey, what about, so-and-so? What if we took him into one of the boardrooms?
Yeah.
And we would fantasize about it. We asked him, hey, dude, what do you recommend? What do we need to do? He says, I can tell you all the workouts to do, but you need to make sure your testosterone is good, your levels are good. Go to this doctor. We went to an anti-aging doctor. They took 8 little things of blood. They gave us our testosterone, our organ function, our everything, sugar levels, you name it, guys. It's a comprehensive anti-aging therapies, sports performance. He does bodybuilders, bikini models,
elite athletes,
actors. You guys think about right now, the guy, you go to a golf course, the old guy who's like 60, but he has all these muscles and he's nice tan, gets into his convertible car, he's super young, hot chick with him. You're like, damn, what's he doing? But he's fit. His testosterone is good. Everything's good.
Levels are still high.
So our libido, our doctor gave us not just a workout plan, but gave us testosterone injections. My wife was low testosterone. So was I. But if I went to a doctor and I said, doc, check my testosterone. If you're within 300 and 1,000, they'd say you're in range. Well, I was at 330 something, super low. So now my doctor normalized me to like 1,000. What does that do? Motivation. te da más ponche, güey.
Yeah.
You're like, you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm gonna ring the doorbells, dude. Let me check my email. Pasas, right? You're up, and then also my lady.
Yeah.
She would start rubbing herself on this couches, dude.
Yeah.
And she would just, she got
super
horny, dude.
Yeah.
Because our bodies, even though we're like late 30s, 40 and some
Yeah.
change, my wife's younger than me, our bodies were working like youngsters.
Yeah.
Because our testosterone, estrogen levels. But go to a doctor, guys. Don't just go to the guy at the gym who says, "Hey, I'll inject you, bro."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you introduce a lot of testosterone into your body for a guy, it'll also raise your estrogen level.
Yeah.
Don't want that. So you have to counteract it. There's a whole approach to it. You have to be monitored, and you got to start working out. You got to start doing, becoming your best self, man. Becoming the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
Our libido went through the roof. Then she mentioned she wanted to try chicks.
Yeah.
Because then we were like, and we were doing things. We started going out more to clubs, going out more on our private date nights. We started increasing really everything, going to the fancier restaurants that we were like, oh, it's too far.
Yeah.
It's expensive. We were like, hey, you know what? Let's do it. We're starting our prime right now, right?
Yeah.
Because of the health. And we started working
Yeah.
out. It does a lot for your self-esteem, dude.
And I thought something was wrong with me before we went to our doctor. Like for years, I was just tired all the time. Workouts weren't effective. Like they used to be, we were doing everything we normally did, but I wasn't feeling great.
And sex was good, but...
Sex was good, but I didn't want it. Like, I wouldn't initiate. Like, I could go and not mention it. And I was like, I love my husband. I have a good time when we have sex. I have an orgasm every time we have sex. But I'm not, like, asking for it. I'm not looking for it. And so I was like, so what's wrong with me? And then when we saw our doctor and he, kind of balanced everything out.
They go over the labs with you. They tell you.
Yeah, and we talked about getting good sleep and the diet and the supplements, and we were on our hormones got back in balance, and I'm like, oh, this is what, like, I feel like I'm back in my 20s, my early 20s, and my body started
naughty
working.
20s.
My naughty 20s. Yeah, I was naughty.
I have her tell me stories about her first boyfriends. Like, she would tell me, and these... You guys should use this if this resonates with you. Like, this is one way to increase the trust, is to reveal, hey, tell me about that boyfriend. Oh, well, he, after the gym, we'd go get tacos and we'd park and we'd do it in the truck and stuff like that.
I use burrito.
Yeah, I ordered a hot dog with no bun.
Salchicha.
La longaniza, güey.
Yeah, but like Fana, like talking, he would start to ask me like, where was the craziest place you did it? Did you ever do it with two guys? And then he would tell
Those are
me
all
about
techniques.
his, high school experiences and college and all that. So, we started doing that in the bedroom with each other. And then I mentioned that, babe, I would like to try chicks, because I experimented a little bit with women, but I was still like, not comfortable talking about men yet. I didn't want to say, I'm like, okay, we're fantasizing, but is my husband really okay with it?
But at that point, you did fantasize about men. You just didn't know how to tell them.
I fantasized about men before we went to that doctor.
Gotcha.
Before we even started fantasizing openly with each other in the bedroom. So I was always
that's like most women, by the way.
Hot men. And my
Most
husband
women are
would notice
fantasizing.
hot chicks too. He would be more vocal about it, but I was always looking at men. I'm like, oh, that guy's hot. So I was always doing it. I just never said anything about it, which is what a lot of people do. And then, in their relationships, they go unfulfilled.
Yeah.
So most people, like we've said earlier, people have the swinger gene, the swinger DNA, because, you do look at hot people all the time. Of course, you notice who's attractive when you're, we're all human. And we're very visual creatures, so if somebody's attractive, you're going to notice that. But we just started talking about it openly with each other. And so I mentioned, like, I want to try chicks, because that was, like, my little starter appetizer. And then that's, we started looking for, hey, where do you meet other couples? Like, there was Craigslist back in the day.
No pictures sometimes.
Yeah, that was a shit show. Terrible. So then we started meeting people, and we found out about the swinger dating websites. We started doing that. We started going out, meeting people, and most of the time we would just go out, dance, drink, and, like, sometimes we'd go out every weekend.
We call them flirty dates. We would just go out and test the flirt.
Yeah.
We'd do nothing. We would do nothing with these couples.
We would network, a lot.
Yeah, we would just meet them and flirt, and that was enough for us.
Yeah.
So that's something that I guess a listener can use, is just they could just increase the flirt.
Yeah.
But then we started playing with others.
Yeah.
It became amazing.
How do you control that dopamine, that rush, of being with someone else, and then, because everything's addicting.
Sure.
You know, anything could be, especially, you know, sex can be addicting. So how do you control that rush to want to be with others all the time? So it's not always someone else. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. Okay, so remember earlier we mentioned that we spin up the lifestyle and we turn on the lifestyle engine and we have fun and then we turn it off.
Yeah.
So it's always kept in check. Not that it needs to, because we would go out and be crazy and live a wild life independently, or she would after work or something go off with a dude. Our relationship is at a point to where if she met a guy that she liked and I met him and I knew him to be like a cool person, that I would be okay if she had a little side piece for fun here and there, but as long as I would be okay. Yeah, and we've talked about it. But it doesn't happen, hasn't happened. It doesn't. I think a big misconception with people is that when you try the swinging lifestyle, you're going to pursue it and you're going to be relentless and you're going to go crazy, especially if you have a segment of people listening in that are maybe like entrepreneurs. They're driven, they want to do stuff, they're after it, they're doing research, they're making moves. That's different, because you're going to use the entrepreneurship and success to attract a solid mate. You don't use the lifestyle to lose the very thing that gets you all your play partners.
Right.
Because I have had with my wife the hottest chicks that I've ever had in my life with her help.
Yeah.
So why would I sabotage?
Ultimate,
so she's like a wingman.
Ultimate
wingman. You guys are
wingman.
wingmen to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to be good wingmen for each other.
Yes.
So you have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, we each we have a type that we're attracted to. Obviously, there's a whole smorgasbord, and there's a big variety that you might end up in bed with someone you never thought you would look at twice on the street, walking by on the street. But because you have a conversation and they're funny, or they become more attractive in person as the night goes on. So there's different ways to find attraction, but we are good wingmen for each other. Like if we're on a date and, I see that there's flirting going on with him and the other woman.
Good vibe.
I'm like, okay, it's going well, so I'll step up the flirt with the husband. If we're out just at a club, at a bar where there's like a meet and greet and we're talking to people, I'm gonna be my flirty self, and I can turn that on. Normally, I don't do that all the time. We got a lot of shit going on during the day, family, business. I'm not like sitting there texting guys. I don't like do that.
That's a big no-no, by the way. If you're starting the lifestyle and the woman is out there having fun and texting guys all day while the guy's at work, doing a construction job or something, and he's busy. It's a safety issue. He can't be distracted. Yet the wife's at home. Oh yeah, I'm wearing this. Here's a picture of me. Huge imbalance. Yeah. And when the guy gets home and says, "Did you talk to some guys?" "I did." "Oh, cool. What went on?" And the guy reviews the chat. At that point, he might be like, "Oh, that was hot," but he'll go out and be like, "Dude, I'm working hard, man.
What the fuck? Like
I don't." So it's about imbalance. But if he's the type of guy who gets fulfilled with that, and that's good for him, and there are men like that, and that's okay. That's getting more towards the cuckold side.
Yeah.
Not necessarily you want to be ridiculed, but you love to share your wife and you want to hear about it and you want to hear her stories, and sometimes you want to hear audio recordings or you want to see the video of what they did.
Yeah.
That's different. That's a different side of the lifestyle spectrum. So if you keep it full swap, full swap or soft swap, you'll be okay.
Question. One thing, STDs. How does, because obviously you're dealing with other people.
Yep.
How does that trust, or how does that come into play when choosing partners or going about it? Like, is there a way?
Tell them what I drink, sweetie.
Well, my husband drinks Topo Chico. It's the
Limpia todo, güey.
It's just the natural antiseptic.
Cleans everything.
Yeah. So before a date, you drink a full bottle.
Before and after.
And after.
Yeah. Topo Chico. So I'm from Monterrey.
And then you pour a little on your dick.
I dip it in there.
Yeah.
You pour your dick in Topo Chico?
And I pour some on her, too.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's a big joke. It's a big...
He's like, I'm going to try that shit.
No, my wife's just playing with you guys.
It gives you minerals.
It's just an inside joke with us that okay, so this is a very important topic, and it's something that I think stops a lot of people because they're full of fear. And I think if someone is fearful in life, when it comes to the lifestyle, they're going to be like paralyzed with fear. Anxiety is going to go through the roof. Every what if, what about, what if will come up, and they won't take action. Same with business, same with entrepreneurship. They're just going to be like, well, what if I fail? What if I get
But I think the
fire?
risk of failing in business versus the risk of me getting AIDS.
The fire.
That's different,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
I'll risk myself in business.
Yeah.
But fucking AIDS? I mean, come on. You know what I mean?
You'd be surprised. There's people that they wouldn't give a fuck. Like,
Well, I get it.
There's
There's
people
people
that
that-
know
if you
someone
want-
has HIV or AIDS or
And you still hit
anything.
it?
They don't care. There is people out there that just don't.
Yeah, I remember when Pamela Anderson had like herpes, and you asked the homie, "Hey, fool, would you fucking
Would
hit it?"
you?
He's like, yeah, I still hit it. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's just herpes.
It's just herpes. It's just.
But Pamela Anderson, come on.
I'll say I have a pimple breakout.
Yeah.
Wait, what are all those
I
dots?
shaved too hard.
Yeah, I got ingrown hairs.
Yeah, shaving ingrown hairs.
You got 50 ingrown hairs, and they're all oozing. That's not ingrown hair. You got the fire. It's an important thing, the STD talk. It's about being risk averse and your tolerance for risk. And we talked about it earlier. If you're fearful about something, it's going to be a bad thing for the lifestyle, and that's just the way it is, and that's okay too. The lifestyle is welcoming of everybody. Socioeconomic, body style, ethnicity, doesn't matter. Everyone has fun in the lifestyle, and you'll meet someone who's amazing for you in the lifestyle. The STD talk is quite interesting, and I'll tell you why. If you do an STD check today, if you go to a regular clinic, they might do saliva and some blood, and then they'll come back with results like 7 days later. And that snapshot at 2 p.m. on a Sunday, where you did the blood draw, saliva draw, is a snapshot. And then you show your test results a month later, but you had sex 14 times in between. Someone who's very fearful will look at the test result and say, non-reactive, not like clean, all good. And they'll think, hey, got clean test results. So we'll still use a condom, of course. And condoms are used every time, except with couples you know very well. And there are some couples that when we meet sometimes, they ask us, they're like, are you guys okay going all natural?
Yeah.
And they're couples that are like they have top secret clearances. They have to be like on the,
Super
they can't be
good.
playing around, messing around. They don't play often. They'll play with us, and they're like, well, we're just happy if we can play just you guys. We don't need to go out and look for couples. Like couples that are just very few low miles.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're wearing
I like that.
Yeah,
Low
low mileage.
miles.
it's like a car anuncio, right?
Yeah.
Corre bien, runs good, speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
Volkswagen. Excuse me, sweetie. Oh, he's laughing. Oh, no.
I'm looking at the engineer.
So
sound
the
engineer.
snapshot in time, then you present the test result a month later to someone who says, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, recent results. Here you go.
Is that person really absolutely? And some people would say, don't use the word clean because then you imply someone's dirty. But just for the sake of the example, if it's a good clean result, does that mean that person's good to go and that you're safe and you could go without protection? I would say be really careful. And someone says, yeah, we got tested recently last week, but they were at the swing club 2 weekends, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they were like in the dark room with multiple, or people that do gangbangs.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
So it's really the STD thing is not a perfect science. And then again, some of the results you get are very limited. They're only testing for a few things. Sometimes they won't test for herpes because herpes is so common that they don't want to scare you at the doctors and say, hey, by the way, you're okay with this, but you got this, sorry. And then you can be like, damn, no wonder I get these fever blisters even in elementary school, or no wonder I get, every once in a while I get strep throat. And it turns out you have this thing that you've had since you were little or whatever. They don't want to scare you, so they won't even tell you because herpes is like super common. But I tell people, we joke about it because it's a serious topic, but we joke about, we were talking about how, I had an oops moment with Abuelita because she was like moving around and she guided. She grinded and it was like grind, oops. And then later it became oops, grind. Like she would do it in like,
Just the tip, and then
we talk about it and we say, you know what? Have you guys seen the commercials? If you're ever watching NBA games, have you seen those commercials right now that is like, hey, if you live with HIV, live a normal life.
Yeah.
What they've done with with medications nowadays
and all that.
and autoimmune, which, by the way, if you ever wanted to talk about the origins of HIV and the parallels of COVID and the same similar doctors and the same tests, the Kerry Mullis, the inventor of the PCR test, said, my test should not be used to diagnose anything. But if you take a test and you have an antibody for something, which if you have an antibody, that means you've already dominated it. It's just present. Mm-hmm. If you have this antibody, you're sick now. And then they start giving you this medication like they did in the 80s, AZT, which was poison. An epidemic was created, and it got a lot of people very scared. And you could do all the research you want because it's all out there, guys. We're not trying to do a podcast about like conspiracy, right. But it's so interesting how if you tested 2 years ago, if the cycles on your test were below 30, it'd be a negative result every time.
Non-detectable.
But if your cycles, which they were testing at 45, 40, every other test would become a positive, even though you weren't. Everything was fine. You were fine. It's a similar test to what they were using, PCR. Kerry Mullis, the inventor, he died mysteriously a few years ago, by the way. He said, my test should not be used to diagnose anything. It'll tell you if there's something there, but if you amplify it, you'll find it every time. So this is why we don't live in fear. Mm-hmm. And this is why it is a very serious and a very real fear that people have. Mm-hmm. But I also tell people, what's your level of risk? Are you willing to have a good time based on the limited number of years that you're on this planet? Or would you rather live in fear and not experience those things that you could experience, and that's okay too? Yeah. So if someone's anxious and fearful, I would say lifestyle's probably not for you, because certainly don't want to bring the pain home. Don't want to bring fear and anxiety where it doesn't need to be, because that'll affect your marriage in other ways too.
Yeah.
So anyway, kind of went off the deep end a little bit, yeah. But
it's a good question, because it's pretty common for people to, fear.
I mean,
condoms are used.
Even without a swinging lifestyle, I'm assuming, being just dating women or dating men in general, people are gonna ask that, like, well, fuck, like, who am I fucking?
In the dating game, yeah.
Exactly, in the dating game, no matter what.
If you think back when you were dating, how many times did you ask the person you were dating if they had an STD or not?
Exactly.
Or for clean test results before you did your first thing.
You probably never did.
Most people don't. People don't. But then they get into the lifestyle. They're like, well, I need to see test results, and I need to see this. We're looking for, when we meet a couple, and we analyze their pictures, we're looking at the clarity of their eyes. We're looking at, the girls make the faces when they're having fun. Their tongues, they stick their tongue out. Yeah. I want to see if it's coated with white, candida overgrowth, like not good.
Yeah.
We're looking for clues, but you can look at someone's nails. There's a lot of things you can look at to see what's going on inside. We're not there to find flaws in people. Yeah. If they're nice people and we feel it, condoms are used. If we feel like, hey, maybe this couple's kind of weird, or they're not 100% like into this, or we don't feel like they're a slam dunk, good to go, let's have fun, we'll just end it on a nice note and we'll leave. Yeah. It happens often. We'll meet a couple, and if we feel like the guy's kind of pressure his wife, my wife will detect that, and I'll say, let's get out of here.
Gotcha.
And we'll leave.
We do look for red flags. We've walked out on drink dates before. Yeah. We've, made a nice, polite exit. And if you worry about STDs, yes, it's a concern, but you're going to have incidental contact somehow. A condom could break. It could slip off.
The condom doesn't cover everything, by the way.
Correct.
Yeah. Especially when you're shaped like my penis is shaped like a tuna can. It's like really short and extra thick.
Fat. Yeah.
So a condom will generally like be halfway. So you're having a lot of contact, and before you know it, the woman, if she's very aroused, will have a lot of fluid, and it's going to get everywhere. Yeah. It's everywhere. Yeah. It's on your legs. It's everywhere. So, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's getting everywhere.
It's just fucked up, bro, because I had a homeboy that, and no, it's not me, fuckers.
A friend.
We always just a friend.
A friend of mine.
A friend. No, I had a homeboy that, he was fucking around with some chick.
Yeah.
And, I guess she had given him a head.
Yeah.
And, like, he fucking, like, I remember because we had gone out, and, like, that fool was like, hey, fool, you know how it is. Hey, fool, like, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And, like, 2 days later, she's like, oh, you fucking gave me something, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what the fuck? And he was mad. He's like, what the fuck? This chick is accusing me of giving her something. And she's like, yeah, fucking, I've never, like, I guess she had step-throat. But she was fucking already accusing him, you know?
Right.
Like, it was fucked up. I was like, dog, if I were you, I wouldn't talk to the hyena no more. Like, fuck that chick, dog. Because
he has massive bacteria now in him, too.
Exactly. It's the other way around, but it's just fucked up because it was like a scare. He's like, dude, I didn't even give this chick nothing. It turned out she had step-throat.
Well, a lot of time people will, if somebody has something, it's dormant in their body.
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with a sexual disease, right. And it's just like
So if it shows up like that night or the next day, chances are you had it for a while. Like she had it for a while.
Yeah. It turned out that it was on her end and not on his end.
Like herpes, I think we all naturally have it. Right? It's just dormant. It's just dormant.
Everyone is like has not the which one is the most common one? There's 1 and 2.
Type 1, I think. Is it whatever the cold? Like
the cold. People get a flu or a cold.
Herpes 1 or 2 or something. I don't know. It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's like super common. Like I've read this article where it's like over like close to 80% of people have exposure to it, but it like never shows. And if it doesn't show and if it's not visible, sores and stuff, then you can't communicate it to somebody. But if you're visible sores, then you should lay low and chill.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I had a thought about your friend in the question. We were talking about earlier about the STDs, right? Or people call them, what's the other politically correct? STIs. Oh, yeah. Don't say STD.
What was STIs?
Don't say venereal disease.
Sexually transmitted infections. That's the latest.
One time we said venereal disease on our podcast, and people were like, you can't do that. And we're like, what the fuck?
Really?
I'm an old school cat, dude.
School, man.
I can't, that's what we used to call you. That's what the name, right? Oh, she has VD. So let's just say someone went and they were like, hey, let's go get tested. And they had unprotected sex last night, and they go get tested, a day later or 3 days later. There are some very bad things that are incubating in your body for weeks. So you're going to get a good result back, and you're going to be like, all good. You're not all good. So unless someone's going weekly, I don't know who does that. How many of your friends go weekly? Yeah. How many of your friends go once a year or have ever gone?
Ever.
It's one of those things where you're like, I don't even want to know, bro. It doesn't burn. So, many people are like...
As long as it doesn't fall off.
Out of sight, out of mind, right? It still works.
You're right. It's also on the person because they have to be truthful. I had
to be honest,
Again. Nah, it's not me, fuckers.
A
A
friend
friend of a friend.
A friend of a friend. No, I had a homegirl who, she was very sexually active, okay?
Yeah.
And she fucked a lot of my homies.
Yep.
No, she didn't fuck this fool, so just to put it out there. Yeah. But she fucked a lot of my homies, but she would always use the line on them that, I've never done this before, I haven't had sex in a long time.
Okay. Right.
And I'd be like, I would look at these fools like, hey, fool, you guys are stupid. Because they would come to me and be like, hey, fool, so-and-so, she told me this. And I was like, yeah, fool, you're stupid if you believe that.
Right.
Like,
you knew the truth.
I knew the truth because I fucking would go out with her.
Yeah.
Like, I knew how many partners she's had.
Sure.
And how, like, when was the last time she had sex.
Yeah.
But she would still tell these guys, this is the first time I've done it. And so it's about telling the truth.
And how do you know that someone's being truthful with you in a swinging scenario or just a dating
or in a regular scenario? Yeah.
It's a big misconception. Like, people always talk about men being like just horn dogs all the time. But it works both ways. I always tell them, like, everything.
Women are hoes.
Everything in life, I feel like there's two lanes, and you can't judge one gender over the other. Because we're exactly the same at the end, at our core, you know what I mean? So that's one of the biggest misconceptions, I think, too. So
women are bad. She'll tell you. She has friends. Oh, women are, I want to say, almost worse than guys. Like, in terms of slutty, or what they're willing to do, or what they'll do.
Yeah.
They can play innocent. And I think the tendency is to believe the women more than the men. Like, there's still, like, society, in society, you would like, okay, well, men are the horn dogs, men are the players. Men are the cheaters in a relationship, but I think it's equal or just as bad on the female end.
Yeah,
in terms of that too.
I think it's the judgment. This perceived notion that women have to be a certain way. But I say it all the time. We can't judge either person. We're the same.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest misconceptions you guys have seen? Like experiencing the lifestyle. What's the biggest misconception everybody talks about or everybody thinks? That
swingers will play with anybody.
And
everybody.
That's why I brought it up. I figured.
Hey, they're in the lifestyle. Be careful. They're going to try to steal your husband.
They're going to try to turn you.
He's going to try to. They're going to try to get you to sleep with him. It's like.
Right.
So that's a huge issue. So we keep it pretty private. Like, no one really knows. If they know us from the swinger dating websites, then obviously they're there too. They know it. But we don't actively tell people when we're out at Costco parties, get-togethers. No one knows. We keep it really private. So if someone were to say, hey, be careful because they love to play with couples, it's not true. It doesn't happen. That even if they were attractive, and we have a bunch of attractive friends that we hang with, these we call them vanillas. We're going to have a vanilla evening tonight. It's going to be a vanilla evening tonight. We're going out to dinner. We know for a fact, and I'll tell you, sweetie, my wife will confirm with you guys. We will go out to dinner, whether we're here, traveling, wherever. We'll get together with friends, and these are vanilla friends. These are just, they're married, they're hot, they're all fantasized. If they knew what we did with other couples, they're talking about the fantasy that we're living privately. But you have to keep it real quiet. It's like if you guys won the lottery, like, keep it quiet. It's the same thing. Keep it quiet.
Have you lost friendships over that?
Have we, sweetie?
Or close relationships?
I don't think so. No, because I don't, like, I keep things separate. There's only one person in my personal life that I've confided in about when we started going to, like, swingers clubs. And then she's like, oh, I went there. I'm like, no shit. Like, yeah, with my ex, he used to take me, and I didn't like it that much, and then we never talked about it after that. So it's not like, hey, what'd you do this weekend? Who'd you fuck? It's not like that.
Gotcha.
In terms of the conversations. Now, if we meet with a couple that we've met before and we're friends, then typically the conversation is more geared on lifestyle stuff. But because you can be open about that in that environment, and you can just talk freely about fantasies about what went well with another date, like, hey, you guys met this couple? Yeah, we met them. We went out. It was cool. There's no. It's all open. So we don't. I haven't lost any friends over it. I don't make a point to advocate it, and neither does my husband.
We don't mention it.
Is it true that people that wear pineapple? I wonder if somebody told me this.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
I'll tell you.
Because okay, so somebody mentioned to me that if you wear pineapple, like, or clothing that has pineapple,
right,
it says you're swingers, right? And so the other day I was bowling with my kids.
There's a lot of older dudes at Costco that wear.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Hold on. So I was at one of the bowling alleys, and they had arcade or whatever. There was a guy, a paisa looking dude.
Yeah.
From Mexico or Hispanic, and that fool was wearing a fucking flamboyant pineapple shirt.
Damn.
And I was like, so that motherfucker's a swinger? Like,
right.
I don't know. So is it true,
sweetie?
I would say no. Short answer is no. It's typically like the upside down pineapple. That's perceived to be the sign of a swinger. Like if somebody's walking around in the grocery store with a pineapple upside down in their shopping cart, that means they're like trying to peacock and look for dates, or pineapple on the clothing, or
you're in Vegas and you're walking around and someone has an upside down pineapple on their shirt,
right?
Or on a cruise ship and they put an upside down pineapple on their door in their cabin,
right?
So
that doesn't really happen.
Can I tell you the truth? Okay. If it's an upside down pineapple, the youngsters have adopted the pineapple as their symbol for open relationships.
Right.
But I want to make sure I bring something up. If you see someone with an upside down pineapple, that doesn't mean that they're going to be attracted to you. That doesn't mean that they're the same play style as you.
Yeah.
It doesn't guarantee anything.
Gotcha.
It's just another way, a fun way to say, hey, they might be open-minded. Right. But what we have found is that a lot of people who are brand new to the lifestyle, they go to TikTok, they go to Instagram, they search pineapples, upside down pineapple. It's a bunch of newbies that are not ready to play, don't know how to play, are not ready to share their spouse. They're just not ready. Anyone with access to a Walmart clothing aisle can wear a pineapple shirt. Doesn't mean anything. Right. People will wear black rings on their right ring finger. Doesn't mean anything. Our firefighter friends, police friends wear black bands all the time. That doesn't mean they're in the lifestyle. Really the only way you can tell if someone's in the lifestyle is if you find them on a swinger dating website and you see their picture and you're like, oh, damn, I always suspected them, but There they are.
Or your podcast, right?
Or they listen to the show, or
they
they're wearing a shirt with our logo on it.
Yeah.
Really, that's really the only way, because you're overt about it. You're telling
Yeah.
people, I'm a fan of this, or I love this. But the pineapple, just be careful with it. Sweetie, it doesn't guarantee anything.
No.
We've talked about it, because
Yeah.
we get hit up all the time.
Yeah.
Should I wear pineapple? We're going to go to the basketball game. And I'm like, well, you can wear it, but it doesn't mean anything to anyone.
Because I eat pizza with pineapple, so I just don't.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I'm a swinger, you know what I'm saying?
Or you drink pineapple juice because you think it's going to change the flavor of your
right?
of your horchata, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, but even that, how many people actually know that pineapples means that, unless you're writing in it? You know what I mean? So,
Right.
Yeah, so if you do that out in public, very few people will actually know what that means.
Yeah.
Right.
And the truth is, if someone is in the lifestyle, like in it, and they're actively seeking other people to play with and fulfill their fantasies, they're going to be on a swinger dating website to find other couples. Now, when we first got into the lifestyle, I was like, all about the pineapples. I'm like, okay, cool. I go to Nordstrom or whatever. There's pineapple sippy cups. Oh, I went to, we went to our first couple lifestyle, like hotel takeover parties. So
Right.
that's where, the hotel gets bought out by a promoter, and everybody staying there is there
Lifestyle.
for the party
Oh,
lifestyle.
wow.
There for lifestyle.
That's a thing. That's,
Yeah,
wow.
that's one of the big things in the lifestyle. So you go to a hotel for the weekend. There's pool parties during the day. Usually women can be topless, or they have pasties on or whatever, and everybody's there for the party. Theme parties at night, but there's a lot of people who just like to do E or Molly and dress up in the neon.
Social swingers. They don't want to play. They just want to have
They
fun.
just want to have fun. Maybe touch boobie. The girls touch boobies a little bit. And so I went out and I got a pineapple piñata, so we could hang it outside of our hotel room.
Patio, the deck of the room.
Like on the way to the pool. Like we had a room by the pool, like on the way to the pool, and we're like, oh, let's hang this out. And it's not like we got more dates because of that, because not everybody's there to play. We still had to do our homework. We still had to screen people.
Yeah.
We still had to do our best to set up before the event, because once you're there, it's like everybody's walking
everyone's
around.
distracted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot. Oh, they want to go to the pool party. They're drinking during the day. They want to dance. They want to have fun. And then by the time they're ready to make a move, it might be 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning.
Or they're drunk.
Or they're drunk.
And that's not funny.
you're not at your
That
best.
shit don't even get up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's difficult. Men, when they drink too much alcohol, I tell them, have one drink, that's it. Don't. It'll counteract your.
Pace yourself.
Yeah, it'll counteract your sex med too, your Viagra or Cialis.
Yeah.
A lot of alcohol will counteract it too, and
It
so
dumps things down.
Now
Yeah,
you guys mentioned clubs earlier.
yeah.
What is the club life like? When you go there,
A swing club.
it's a
Like a
swing
lifestyle
club, but is it
club?
like obviously like you said earlier, right? Like there's a lot of people that like to fake it. Is
Right.
these clubs, do they pre-screen? Like, is it a membership style? Like, what is it like?
Yeah, typically a lifestyle club is a membership style. Like you make a donation,
It's cheap, like $50 a year or
For the
something,
year.
$100 or something.
and then there's a cover per couple for each night you go in. You bring your own booze. You can bring your own bottles.
Tell them how much generally.
Was it like 60 to $80?
That's the couple's price.
for a couple. If you go early bird, before 9 o'clock, it's $60. Maybe after 10, $80 a couple. They have lockers there you can rent, or bring your own your key or whatever to store your stuff.
Women like to change into skimpy clothing,
Yeah.
leave the house okay, but change
Yeah.
into their lingerie if they want.
Or yeah, exactly. They have multiple outfit changes. Depends on if there's a theme night. They might do a costume and bring it and change there. You typically bring your own booze with you. Like the club itself will have mixers, standard mixers, tonic water, club soda, Coke, ice.
Bring your own bottle because they typically don't have a liquor license.
Yeah.
And they don't want a liquor license. They're
Right.
just providing a party.
Yeah.
So you bring your own booze, they keep it, they'll give you a number or something, and then there's a bartender helping you. It's
And
like
you
a
bring your
club.
own. You should bring your
Gotcha.
own cup, like with the closed lid. We always tell people that. Bring your own like sippy cup, because they'll have red Solo cups, and if you put it down,
Right.
you don't
You
you
don't
know
what's
touched
going on.
it or
It's still the same dangers as any
Any club.
normal.
Yeah, exactly. And-
Except everyone's more respectful at
Yes.
the swing club.
Yeah.
Because guys are scared that they'll be expelled from there and never invited back. So
Yes.
they won't touch. You go to a regular club,
Oh, yeah.
it's the women are getting manhandled. It's
oh yeah.
so the swing clubs, it's a regular club, DJ lights, the whole thing, areas, social
Dance
areas.
floor, maybe some VIP, bottle service type of booths,
But in the back, there's rooms,
playrooms.
playrooms.
Sometimes private,
Yep.
sometimes all open.
Sometimes a big communal room with certain comfortable chairs or pods, and then private rooms. We like private rooms. So if we find a couple, we'll take them to a private room.
Yeah.
We like that.
Sometimes
Two
you
beds.
have to rent it, but
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
Out in the open, I don't know who has a cell phone, even though you're not supposed to have one. But it's for me. I don't like an audience. My wife doesn't like an audience. Right. People love an audience. They're exhibitionists. Yeah. The guys really fit. They're like, yeah, everyone watch me. Yeah. And that's okay. That's why they stay in the regular area. But yeah. Swing clubs, man. Club Joy in Los Angeles, JOI, Club Joy. They can look that up. I think it's a good experience if someone just wants to go and hang out. We would go to the club for so many nights, so many weekends, and just enjoy the club part.
Like sometimes Friday and Saturday.
And we'd show up around 9 p.m. Yeah. The key is to get there early. So many people show up at midnight, and all the good couples are playing. Yeah. They're gone. Yeah. Show up early, network, talk, relax, get to know people. A couple hours go by, they know you as a good person, as a nice person. Sometimes the clubs will put out a buffet of food. Yeah. So,
like food or
like food, man.
I was thinking like maybe they put up like a bunch of pussy and a bunch of things. And you guys get to like choose.
Actual food.
Going down the line.
All lined up for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that one. That one's a little weird looking.
Joke in there, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you guys get individuals that go in there, or it has to be couples only?
Couples. It's couples only.
Couples only, but a lot of times they'll allow single females.
But no single guys.
Yeah, certain clubs, certain areas will have single male night. But that's very specific and that's scheduled. So for couples who are looking for that, then they can take advantage of that. But it's pretty rare. So most of the time, single females are allowed, right. and it's couples. And then you get a wristband, you get your number tied to your bottle that you bring, and you just show your wrist when you go to the bar. They can make you a drink with whatever you bring, and sometimes they have a lot of like towels and condoms in the playrooms, but of course you bring your own whatever you want. Lube, condoms, whatever you need to clean up after if you end up hitting it off with someone. And we would the sites for the clubs will typically have like not a swinger dating website, but you create a profile so you can see who's going. Yeah. You can RSVP to an event. You can message people who say they're gonna go and start a conversation before that. So we always recommend like people try to
get a date before.
Get a date before. So we would go to the clubs all the time, not have a date in mind, and then we started to use it as a meeting place. So we would go with a date. Right. And if things hit it off, great, we'd have a play area available. If not, then we could just say, hey, we'll see you guys on the dance floor. And we would excuse ourselves.
Because you don't need a hotel room if you're at the swing club, because there's playrooms there. So it was more of a cheaper night. You'd go and have a good time. And if you hit it off.
And you have an easy out if you don't hit it
off. Right. Hey, it was nice meeting you guys. Boom. You're gone. And there's 150 other people there. Like a lot of couples. Mm-hmm. And some lifestylers only do clubs. They don't like to do what we do is screen, sort, sift, and find some high quality couples that we both like. We're gonna hit it off. They play like we do. They're quick. They're on it. Some people just go to the club and just start talking, and then they're in it. They go to a private room, and then they realize, oh, the guy doesn't play or the girl doesn't play. Right. Yeah. We had one listener who said we went to a club, we started playing. The guy's wife started getting railed in the room. And then the guy says, okay, well, here we are, and started talking to the other wife, and the wife says, oh, I don't play. We come here because my husband plays. Mm-hmm. And then the guy was like, it's not fair. Do I stop? Do I stop what's going on and ruin or
do you
create a scene?
Hey, what up? I'm not fucking, you don't get to fuck, right?
If I'm not playing, hey, so what do you do? So this is why we screen people. Like, you guys are full swap? Oh, great. Oh, us too. We just like to double check,
Question.
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah.
I've heard you on some of your podcasts. Yeah. You guys talk about like people that meet on Bumble or Tinder.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know that at the clubs, more than likely, it's a little bit safer than meeting couples.
Yeah.
Outside in other like apps or whatever, right?
Safe as an STD or safe as in physical harm?
Safe as in physical security. Because I know you said you guys have some crazy stories, right?
We do, yeah.
I want to hear some of those crazy stories. But also, like, what do you guys do with safety?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, sweetie, what's your... So my wife, we've been training in Krav Maga for years.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very direct to the point Israeli martial arts. It's for those who are not familiar, it's basically a very effective way of defending yourself while also providing strikes at the same time. And it's usually
street smart.
It's usually pretty bad. It's like eyes out. It's very like direct to the point.
Throat. Take out the eyes, take out the ears, take out the throat.
And they also have a lot of ground fighting because if you end up on the ground, it's not good ever. Yeah. So it's jiu-jitsu stuff, but they call it ground fighting because jiu-jitsu is a specific brand. But that's not enough. I mean, when we started Krav Maga, the Krav teachers were doing firearms training. So
Like
we
they would
started
consult,
going out.
they were hired by law enforcement and military to do training on weapons retention and
Gun
weapons
takeaways.
manipulation takeaways. And so they're real experts in that. So we had a lot of like training guns, plastic knives, you know, what to do if you get like held up at a, you know, carjacking or at knife point, you know, somebody has a knife.
Yeah.
What do you do? I'd rather have a gun and be, you know, 10 feet away.
Yeah.
But we always have, I would say, a weapon.
And there's
nearby.
improvised weapons.
Improvised weapons.
In
Anything
this
can be a
room,
weapon.
there's plenty of improvised
Yeah.
weapons for defensive purposes. But have we ever been in a situation, sweetie, where we were fearful that something could go down, something bad,
I would say no.
because of our screening?
Yeah.
If there are any weird flags,
Right.
we're screening through chat. We establish a 4-way chat generally,
Yes.
so everyone knows what's going on and
Yep.
what could happen. And then we meet at a neutral place. No one ever goes to our hotel room directly. It's always the lobby bar at our hotel room, or we pick a hotel with a good lobby bar,
Right.
and that's where we meet for a drink.
Yeah. Or
That way
our
it's
house.
easy.
Like, nobody's, you know,
People-
like, we don't-
people have
we
not
don't-
come
yeah.
over at home.
Yeah.
At home, it's a different situation. We do have security people there. We have security systems, and they wouldn't be able to do really anything there. But still, we would never invite anyone there. But so we were learning Krav Maga, gun retention, gun takeaways. We were like, well, we need to learn what to do. This was back in 2005.
Yeah.
What do we do when we do take their gun away and break their finger in the process and manage to get out of the line of fire? We didn't know what to do. So I was teaching business startup, and we met some guys that were coming back from overseas, and they were like, hey, we want to teach SWAT teams. They were, back then it was called Blackwater.
Yeah.
It changed names many times, but we're like, hey, we'll teach you how to do government contracts.
Yeah, they were trying to get government contracts.
And they were like, well, come out to the range with us.
Yeah.
We'll teach you shooting from
So
cars,
swapped.
running
Yeah.
quick, all this stuff. So we started.
We swapped training.
Yeah.
Like,
Not on lifestyle. Although later she was like, hey, I fantasize
I would
about
do
Hollywood.
all those guys. That's my type.
Well, these guys are badass because they train. These are like U.S. Marshal guys. These are all MARSOC guys. These are all
Executive protection.
Special
EPs.
forces.
Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
These are all like been there, done that. Have the T-shirt to prove it. These are all ATF, DEA, FBI vests with plates. I mean, these guys were all law enforcement only training. So we got attached to them, and then they were like, "Hey, you should train our buddies too. They want to start their own training company." We're like, "Yeah, dude, what do you need? We know how to do all that." And so we got really good with the confidence of being able to see if there's danger nearby, just regular observational stuff, but then also the confidence you get knowing that you could protect yourself is a big one too.
Yeah.
And we never separate with a couple unless we know them extremely well, and we've been out with them many times. We know where they live. I don't understand the couples who meet a guy who's traveling through town looking for fun, come to my hotel room.
Yeah.
I would tell my wife, you're going to take a picture of him. I need a picture of his driver's license.
Right.
I need a picture of his car.
Right.
I need to be there, even if I'm in the lobby or in the room. It's just asking for trouble. There's too many unknowns there. So, but with a couple, I don't know if we should go too deep into it, but I mean, we're pretty good with firearms, like really good. My wife's really good. Like quick and like really solid. And if we're traveling and we're out and around, we generally have like on us. So that's good. Permits, everything, all legit.
Yeah.
But I think the big lesson is we avoid any shady situations where something could pop off, even if we're in a concert, right, where we go, where we sit,
Or a restaurant, you know.
yeah,
Pretty
it's
strategic.
always like
It's always on the top of our mind. I mean, our
Yeah.
environmental awareness is always really good, especially when we're together, especially in a scenario where we're meeting another couple. But
we have safe words and we have go-to
yeah.
words.
signals, yeah.
Our security guys taught us this for home. I'll give you guys one now because I think everyone could benefit from it. If I come home and I'm being like, maybe someone followed me back and they need me to get valuables or ATM or money or something, and I call her by a different name, a certain name, she knows. Get your weapons, get a long gun,
Something's
get to
wrong.
cover, go to a hard room. Something's going down here. She knows that if I call her by a certain name. So that's something your listeners can use. If we have the same thing, if she calls me by a different name, by the phone as well, same thing. We have nicknames, but we have very specific things. Rendezvous places, names for a secret name for the office, things like that. But yeah, it doesn't come up, man, because people in the lifestyle are so fearful of getting found out that we're usually telling people be careful how you announce yourself, because there's a lot of law enforcement, a lot of police in the lifestyle, high risk professions, doctors, surgeons, nurses, people who see the thin balance of life and how quickly something can happen. Those people are in the lifestyle because they know, dude, I play now, man, have a good time now. Nothing's certain.
Yeah.
High-powered people, celebrities, a lot of these people are highly sexed, right? So, I don't know. Anything you want to add to where I was going with this, sweetie?
I think more people should think about it.
Yeah.
For us,
Yeah.
it's very natural.
It doesn't come
It's just
up,
how
man.
it's how we live our life. Like, we don't live in fear. We're aware. We know shit can go down at any time. Anybody's a potential suspect. A kid, an old lady, skinny girl, whatever, whoever. It doesn't have to be like a nasty looking guy in a hoodie walking down the street. Anybody could be a potential
Just be observant.
aggressor, attacker.
Be
So you always
observant.
have to be ready. So that's how we live our life. And that's how, we approach the lifestyle in the same way we approach business and our personal lives. So for us, there's really no difference.
Yeah.
So we're always ready, quote unquote, ready for whatever. But I think more people should be aware of it. It just doesn't, I don't think it comes up a lot because people in the lifestyle in general are worried about their privacy and their own security in terms of, being outed, or if they're, if they come up on the news or a police report somehow. That'd be a very stupid move.
I want to ask you about that. Why do you think people, you're talking about all these positions, professions that are in the lifestyle but are afraid to come out or afraid to show that side of it? Do you think there's a specific reason? Obviously, I know that there's certain people because of the image they portray.
Yeah.
But why do you think that is?
I think a lot of people have in their job title
Like an ethics
a
clause.
clause
some
of
kind.
ethics that if you
Morality or ethics clause,
like I don't know if a lot of people know this, but we have a lot of friends in law enforcement. A lot of them are in the lifestyle. But your credit has to be okay. You can be suspected of doing some wrong. I mean, they look deep into your background, and they're consistently monitoring, even with concealed weapons permits that we have. They're running our names like every 2 months to make sure we haven't done anything bad or in the system. But the immoral clause in their employment contracts, can you imagine if someone found out that you were playing with other couples, and it triggers your job to look at you and say, hey man, you can't be doing that, now you're losing your income.
Now you get a reprimand on your record of some kind, or conduct unbecoming, or it affects your promotion or your future or your job.
But I mean, even that's morally wrong, because there's people that cheat in their relationships and they still keep their job, So
it's not fair.
Found out.
It's not fair.
Exactly.
And we know a lot of people who are cheating, but they wouldn't get in trouble for cheating, but they might get in trouble. Might, not always, but they might. The lifestyle is working on being a protected class, like homosexuality. They're not completely a protected class, but that they have a lot of rights, and they had the whole thing about being able to get married. The lifestyle's not quite there yet. The open marriage lifestyle, it's still lagging behind, but it should get there at some point. The way we're trending. You see what they're doing now with pushing the homosexual agenda on even our kids. I mean, when I say they, it's like institutions, schools, whatever, government. They're pushing it they're putting it in your face. Retailers, Target recently was in the news. They're just normalizing it. So sooner or later, and whatever you think about that, that's okay. I mean, is it great? Is it bad? I don't know. It's up to you to decide. But the lifestyle is in that class because it has to do with sexuality. So at some point it'll become a bit more normalized. But I don't think people should be scared. We always tell people, hey, we saw your pictures. They're not really showing who you are. Would you be open to some feedback, some friendly feedback, especially if we met them and we played with them, we had a good time? We usually tell people, hey, your pictures you show, like of the knee, of the butt, of like, yeah, your wife has pretty feet, but what are those feet attached to? If I want to meet you guys, we need to see the package. So I usually tell them, if you're scared that your job might find out about you, post your picture, post a full-length photo and just cut off your face, or if you want to leave your smile, but show what you're working with. Show your physique. Show what you look. Show us who's going to be at the bar with us.
Show up to meet us.
Because people are nervous. They'll show like one big old nipple with like the hair bumps, and you're like,
Or the
I don't
pictures
know.
like this and shit.
Like this, where she's
it's
really
all
super
flattering.
skinny.
Like, what the fuck's the rest of
And
you,
they put the
right?
filters. They put they make their eyes like brighter.
Yeah.
They take away
Slim.
the wrinkles.
Gone.
And
It's like super
like,
smooth
oh,
face.
Let me know what I'm gonna get, but
And then her boobies cover her belly because it's from above. That's a big trick, by the way.
Hey, the bigger the panza, the bigger the chanza.
Right? I understand.
You
Just
brought up something interesting right now. So you're talking about homosexuality.
Yeah.
It is Pride Month.
Yeah.
Is that part of the lifestyle as well? Do you guys see couples that are like that?
It's the open lifestyle, man. It doesn't mean that because you're in the lifestyle, you're going to play with someone who's gay. I mean, do you remember, sweetie? So I have a bunch of gay friends from like high school. These are musical theater and all that. And my lady used to ask me all the time, did they ever try to like grab your ding dong, or did they ever? And I'm like, yeah, all the time. But they were never trying to like convert me. It's something that people do, right? But so the big joke with our gay friends is just because they're gay doesn't mean they want to do you.
Right.
There has to be attraction. Same thing in the lifestyle.
Exactly.
You have to find something nice about them. They have to have a good attitude. They can't be, rude to the service staff, things like that. But the spectrum of bisexuality is well within the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. There are couples where the man wants to explore his bisexual side. Yeah. They'll find other bi couples, and they'll play together. And then that other man can kind of see if he likes it or not, or they can just play at whatever level they like. That's not our thing. Like, I don't need to do any of that to feel fulfilled. I'd rather have a pretty girl, leave me alone. Like, there's some people who want to be next to their wife during.
Constantly touching their
wife. And I'm
wife.
like, well, we live together.
Yeah.
I'm with her all the time. She's like, go over there. She tells me sometimes, hazte para allá, güey. Llévatela para allá.
That's how you guys get different rooms, huh?
Or at least two beds.
So you never accidentally cross espaditas?
Oh, play espadas?
Yeah, with lightsaber duel.
Two slayers, one dragon?
Two slayers, one dragon. Like DVP, like two in one. So you know what's funny is, let's just for a quick second mention this. The whole thing about Latinos and Middle Eastern people and that issue with talking about sexuality and homosexuality and whatever, I remember I was like 10 years old. I found my uncles in bed. Uncles, like one was direct uncle, direct two dudes, like just doing stuff with themselves. And I remember thinking, okay, all right, if they're having a good time, I don't know. I remember walking in on them and they looked at me, and then they were just doing their thing. They were giving me money after I think it's domingo, mijo.
Get yourself some bubble gum.
Kind of like saying,
but
no diga nada. Bien calladito, eh? Like, I remember, I never mentioned it before, but I remember catching them several times, like friends. They would go, it would be an uncle and the second uncle. It wasn't like too direct. And then with other friends, like just catching them doing things. And I'm like, all right, well, and we spend a lot of time in Mexico. I mean, we have projects in Cancun area, Monterrey, and it's wide open over there. You go to Mexico, dude, it's like homosexuality is like welcome and open. It's like their end. Also, the lifestyle is. A lot of couples there. It's so normalized there. There's resorts there. You guys want to know how to find out if your neighbors are swingers? If they travel to Cancun a lot and they go to Temptation Resort, that's one of them.
Or
Desire. That's a couples resort, all nude. People go there specifically. Yeah, they'll tell you they're going to get a tan.
Is that why you see the adults only resorts?
Adults only. Yeah. And it's a jacuzzi, nightclub. Everyone has a room.
In Cancun.
Cancun is huge. Palm Springs, locally here. There's like 4 nude resorts there. Sea Mountain Inn. Yeah. It's a fun place, actually. It's small.
Now, you can go just to be nude, but typically you still have to screen people when you meet them because, again, not everybody is there to play. They just want to go and sunbathe in the nude and be in like the salt water and the natural waters. But a lot of times there are lifestyle couples that go.
That would play if you hit it off, if the vibe is good. Right. Palm Springs, Cancun is big. If you go overseas, in France, Italy, it's super normal there.
It's more accepted, right?
Oh my God. It's common for the man to say, oh, my wife, she's with her boyfriend today.
Yeah.
It's so normal. The U.S. is behind the curve, man. We're just way behind on a lot of things. But yeah, that's... If your neighbors are madly in love and they've been together for years, they're husband and wife, and they're always kind of touching each other, playing like, ooh, cat and mouse, and at the barbecue, they're showing a lot of affection. Generally, they're fueling their fire with either lifestyle or something else that causes them to be more open about the love they have for each other. because you show it. I mean, we're always. I mean, today because of the microphones, we're sitting, but generally we'd be
blame
like,
it on us. Blame it on us.
I know. We'd be like when we go to restaurants, we love to sit side by side.
Yeah.
And we're always like really just close to each other, and we're always complimenting each other. I mean, I call her mi reina, my queen. She's always mi rey.
Yeah.
It's all about the utmost respect for each other, and that's a telltale sign of someone who's a little freaky privately.
Yeah.
Whether they're playing with others or not, they have something that they're doing that ignites that fire and passion.
But they look like they're really in love, and they
Yeah.
show it out. They make a point to show it outwardly. You know, a lot of times they'll go on vacation, they never have pictures. You know, hey, show me pictures of your vacation.
That's another
because
telltale
they
sign.
can't because they went to some
Because
place.
they were at a
They were at the nude
resort.
resort.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
or
why I
they're
never
always
fish
going
it.
out and they're dressed, you know, extra sexy or.
No wonder
you know.
Cisco never has pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Or when they go out they're always going out and they're spending the night somewhere locally, staycation. They're generally meeting another couple, or they'll take like a small carry-on. There's no flight, but in the
Little
carry-on
duffel
there's
bag or something,
play
yeah.
kit,
Yeah.
toys, lube, alcohol, change of clothes, all their we call it a go-to bag of all the essentials: condoms, coconut oil, lubes, whatever it is. As a lifestyle, you should have a little go kit. Hey, we're gonna go meet so and so. Yeah, grab the kits. Let's go. Another small kit has lights, up lights, similar lights to what you guys have in the studio. Similar, creates mood, effect,
Little
and
speaker, maybe a candle.
music is important. Create the mood, create the vibe. Kind of helps people after a couple drinks, and they're already there for a reason. You create the mood. Now it's faster, because the last thing you want to do as a lifestyle is invite someone to a hotel and just leave all the lights on, like if you're inside a Walmart. Like
Yeah.
these kind of lights,
Yeah.
super white. I mean, that's not sexy.
Yeah,
and then you start. So, have you guys ever? And it's like, okay,
How many
dim
kids
the lights.
do you have? You know, we like the conversation.
Turn off all the
generally
lights.
Doesn't
Put
get
the
sexy.
TV on.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah, just or la
Start
musiquita,
la
dim it,
musiquita, yeah.
and then yeah, man. I don't
Open
know.
the bathroom door, just that enough light comes
Just
out.
enough light, man. Yeah. Generally, we'll turn off all the lights and leave only our colored lights on.
Yeah.
Generally.
Color
And
bulbs or plug-in like light LED colored plug-ins like
yeah,
night lights.
you could do it for very cheaply. I mean,
yeah.
you don't want this stuff. You have fancy stuff. You
Home
can
Depot.
go Home Depot, uplight, color, red, blue. You know, $17 for a little light bar, battery powered. Boom.
Yeah.
And create the mood, man. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I got a question, but I don't know. If it's too personal, you don't have to answer it.
Okay, I'll let you know. Probably I'll answer it. My wife will.
Fuck off.
Do,
No.
do you guys have kids?
Yeah,
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. Have you thought about when they're older, explaining, and obviously they're gonna notice certain things. Have you thought about or are you guys open with them about sexuality and all that stuff?
So we are not open with them about the lifestyle
Or what we do.
or what we do, but I think that's, for me, that would be normal. Like if they had a question about sex or their own sexuality, obviously we talk to them about it. But I think in general, parents shouldn't be talking about their sex lives to their children.
Anyway.
Correct.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't
So-
think that's
Yeah.
appropriate.
Especially if you're in the lifestyle, like,
Yeah,
why would we tell our kids where we're
Yeah.
going?
you guys are not freaky enough. Come on, let's go. You know, that's not right. So I wouldn't, like we wouldn't convince anybody, try to convince your listeners to join the lifestyle or to start swinging. We wouldn't try to plant that seed to our children.
Our neighbors are different.
Yeah.
Our all-American neighbors, they're telling their kids, honey, if you're prideful, if you want this or if you want to do this, anything you want. So a lot of the kids, like the rich kids, they're like non-binary, dude. Like you look at them and you're like, I don't know if that's a girl or
Nah.
like for some reason that's what they're choosing to do. And hey, what are we supposed to do? We can't tell people how to parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've had a question before, like, what do your parents think about you in the lifestyle? I'm like, do you tell your parents how you do your wife at night? Like, it doesn't come up. It never comes up. It like never comes
How
up.
has the lifestyle affected your parenting? Like,
That's a good question. Yeah.
like what do you guys do as parents? Like,
Yeah, sweetie. Have you changed anything about your approach?
No. Well, I mean, we know now that when we go out, our kids are of an age where they're okay being on their own. So, like most couples,
All right, I'm not going to say.
Go ahead. What?
She has 2 nannies.
Okay.
She doesn't raise our kid. She doesn't raise
I
our
don't raise
kids.
kids.
She doesn't even talk
They
to our
don't
kids.
even know my name.
She doesn't know. She doesn't remember like how old they are
Or their
when their
birthdays.
birthdays are. Went to dinner. She's like, the
Do you
birthday's
have a
coming up.
birthday cake tonight?
We have found that it hasn't. affected it at all.
No.
If anything, because we're gone for work and business anyway. We're traveling like generally every week. We're traveling. We're gone for a couple of days, or a few days, or a week. That's the reason for the nanny, not because of the fancy thing, but because we need someone trustworthy. That's So we haven't brought it up. I think we would be quite open to if they had questions, but at this point, I would just repeat exactly what my wife said because it hasn't changed the way we parent. I just know that we would have more compassion if they had certain questions. We would be receptive without revealing what we've enjoyed and what we've done and the naughty things. In what she's held in her hand, or like the size of a camote, like it gets sharp at the tip, like a sweet potato.
Well, the sweet potatoes are all fucked up.
Well, yeah,
you have some weird stories like that with some weird camotes.
No, there's been some curved dicks.
Curve is common.
Curve is common, but like a sweet potato, not necessarily.
But how about black guy? They have larger ones, right?
Larger ones are sometimes a thick tip. Not every black guy.
Oh, that's a
misconception.
Misconception. BBC?
They're not all BBCs.
Okay.
Not everybody's a BBC. Not every black guy's a BBC.
Right.
Some are just average, and some there's
average to smaller.
There's been some tiny ones too.
Not that I compare myself because when you're just tiny, like if
everything seems bigger.
Well, if I have to pee, first off, I have to sneeze to get it to come out. And then I use pepper, and then when it comes out, I capture it with a tweezer. Then I can pee. Otherwise, if it was a small one, you don't want to really compare yourself because now I'm just hurting myself. You know what I mean? You're below average.
So you mentioned earlier you had some horror stories. What are some horror stories?
There have been some.
Calabasas couples.
Yeah, we met a couple in Calabasas, and we met at a restaurant for drinks, and we had appetizers. We had a few rounds of drinks and appetizers, and then we told them there was a hotel nearby.
They were like a steering wheel couple. Like she was hot, and he was like.
He's an acquired taste.
Más o menos, like not. It wouldn't be like my wife would be like, 100%. Let's go right now. It was more like, damn it, we drove all the way. She's hot for my husband, so and she's flirty with my husband, so.
I'll jump on the grenade.
Yeah, it's like, and people talk about taking one for the team, but you really do have to do that unless you're going to ruin everyone's evening.
Yeah. I would say no to everybody in that case.
We ended up at the hotel.
Yeah.
We were like, let's invite them over.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, we did this thing. We're like, okay, well, you guys want to go play? You want to pick up drinks? We'll grab the hotel. So it was kind of
right.
Like
we didn't have one reserved yet.
We didn't. Yeah, we don't do that unless we know we're going somewhere. Otherwise, we would have split the bill at the bar and then just gone our separate ways. But we're like, hey, you guys, you want to grab the drinks?
You cover the bill tab. I'll grab the room. Keep it equal. Más o menos.
Yeah. So we went to the hotel. He did. My husband grabbed the room on his app real quick.
Hilton Garden Inn, Calabasas. We show up, we make drinks. The girl gets flirty with me. She starts like, "You want to dance? Slow dance." Like we didn't need any icebreaker. Like she had been drinking the martini style, very strong at the bar. Yeah. Martini's all alcohol, guys.
Vodka.
You guys know that, yeah. It's like all booze, man. She had like 2 of them, and then we made drinks in the room. She got super flirty with me. Lights were dim. We took some quick lights, just aimed them up. They started dancing. The guy with my wife. Yeah. It started to go down. We had 2 beds.
Yeah. We were each playing on separate beds.
Yeah. So you guys were on one bed already doing stuff. He was quick to play too, right?
Yeah, he was quick. I don't know. I think he knew how she handled alcohol. So anyway, we were playing. You were playing with her on the bed. She excused herself to the bathroom.
We were already doing stuff, by the way. Everyone was in action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still playing with the guy. I didn't stop because she went to the bathroom. But then my husband, he goes gets a drink refill, and then a few minutes go by, and I'm like. I started looking around like, where is she? And maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Like, I don't know. Was it? She
was gone for a while, but we had been playing about 45 minutes already, individually, swapped. She goes, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And we were like, where's she at? We opened the door, vomit everywhere. Like
she passed out.
Chunks of, it looked like, I don't know, hot dog, whatever.
That
just
appetizer
gross.
You guys had.
Vomit everywhere.
And I even
She's
said,
passed out.
Like, do you want to go check, like... You want to go check on your wife? Like, where is she? She's like, nah, she's cool. I'm like, are you serious?
Because he wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
They were having a good time.
He already knew.
And then after a while, I was like, okay, this girl's not coming back, and this guy's still going hard. I'm here all stupid, dude.
No,
like,
so-
just hanging out.
Like with your dick in
No,
your
I'm not
ass.
going to do it. I'm like, dude, I have to keep doing it. Otherwise, my erection could suffer. That's when we checked in on her.
Yeah, so I got up and I went to the bathroom and found her on the floor. And then so I'm trying to get her, wake her up.
Passed out, man. Passed out.
You know, clean her up a little bit and bring her out. And she's, you know, then she came out, she's like still kind of half awake. And she tried to get under the covers and get all comfortable. And then I was like, oh, no.
And then the guy goes, it's okay.
We're good to go.
I can continue. If she doesn't want to play or if she's done playing, that's okay. And pulled my wife and said, we can finish. And then my wife's like, we're not finishing. And it's like, I think he knew there was like a countdown timer with his wife.
Right.
It didn't seem like it was the first time that this had happened.
Right.
But the wife was naughty, dude. Like, she was like trying to pull my condom off and stuff. And when she went to the bathroom was when I had told her, no, it stays on. It stays on. She was yanking it off. And when she left to the bathroom, I think that was her trigger for like, damn it. Like, I did something wrong. She never came out of the bathroom. But then she was passed out. She was vomit. It was just a bad situation. We turned on the lights immediately.
I was helping her get dressed. And I was like, no, you guys, you know, I'm telling the guy, I'm like, you need to take her home.
And the guy was like, no, we can clean up. We can change rooms. And we're like, we looked at each other. We're like, this is over.
No.
This night is over.
Yeah.
We did change rooms, and we ended up hanging out there for a little while, my wife and I. We don't live too far from there, like maybe 40 minutes, 30 minutes or something. We ended up leaving, kicked them out immediately. They kept wanting to hang out again. Then we found out from another couple that something similar had happened with that couple, and we're like, okay, something's going on with them. But there's been times where we've shown up, and we have a double date, full swap scheduled, and the man will show up and say, my wife couldn't show up, she felt ill, but we can still play, and open up a duffel bag with big dildos in there. We can still play. My wife couldn't come, but we can still grab a room.
Yeah.
No.
Come on, dude.
No. In terms of something bad happening, like really, really bad happening, I can't think of something really bad happening, sweetie, except that one vomit.
Well, that one, and then, I mean,
Is there another one?
it was really early on in our lifestyle journey. One of the first couples that we actually played with as a soft swap. Like, I was still girl on girl. We met them early. You know, we went on several dates together, like vanilla kind of dates. And
Trying to figure out which one she's
and
talking.
vanilla when the guy stole the kettle chips from the hotel room.
They argued, yeah.
Yeah.
They argued.
He couldn't get it. He couldn't keep it up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be respectful for,
Yeah.
you know. He couldn't keep it up, and meanwhile, his haughty white girl and me were like,
She was like 3 steps ahead of him.
oh, she was naughty. She was the instigator, dude. She was like, yeah, do me like this, give me like this. Vocal.
Yeah.
Very vocal. He went to the bathroom, and he started crying.
Yeah.
And they had a little session of like, what's going on? Everything okay? And he said, we need to leave. And as he was leaving, they took our kettle chips, dude, our snacks, bro.
That's fucked up.
They took our snacks, and this is a couple that we were like almost poly in love with,
We've
literally.
gone on several
Like, we had
dates,
been
like 6 or
together,
7
cigars
dates.
together.
Yeah.
We would meet up for dinner, like oh, the ladies are on their womanly thing, la regla, right?
Yeah.
Están enfermas, right? Okay, go to your mama's house. You're on your period.
5 days.
You know, we had met together. Hey, we're not going to play because the girls aren't in a condition to play, so we're just going to meet. It was that kind of relationship. But when it came down, it was an imbalance of play because she wanted it so badly. He wanted to take it slow. He was in the emotional relationship component. He was like falling for my wife hard. Hard, to the point to where he was comparing himself to me. Like, he had this thing going in his head. Like, and I didn't. I was just like, this is not what we're doing here. We're just having fun, man.
So you guys had already played before.
Soft
Yeah.
swap.
We had done. Yeah.
Like, just scamming, dude. Just like make out.
Gotcha.
We know some of that
Does
one.
your audience know what that means?
Yeah,
Scam?
yeah,
Oh,
they
did
do.
you
They do.
scam with
Yeah.
him?
It's our age
Yeah.
group.
It's our age
It's
group.
30s.
You're such a scammer. You're such a
It,
slut.
it went from scam to Mac.
Mac.
That
Oh,
was
we
that was
Macked.
our-
Yeah,
yeah,
we
scam and Mac.
Hey, you want to bust the Mac?
Yeah.
Right.
I brought out that word yesterday. I was telling him, like, I was telling my daughter, like, what we used to call it, right? I was like, You guys want to know before Mac, it was scam.
Yeah, scam.
Yeah.
It was
We
scamming.
did that.
Not to be confused with someone who's scandalous.
Yeah.
Scandalous.
Scandalous is different. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
different. Yeah. That sounds.
So this vato was falling in love with your wife.
He was getting super emotionally involved, man, because we had the cigars, because we went to dinner, because we were hanging out a
We
lot.
did like a walk. You know, one of our first dates. Actually, on our first date, we met for drinks in like the Hollywood area, and then after we left that bar, we went on a walk and swapped walk. We were holding hands and shit, and it was like, and then we ended up making out by the car before we were as we were saying goodbye for the night. So the connection was there right away, and then we went on a couple of more vanilla style dates, and then we did actually end up in do our soft swap session in a hotel. So we already played. Even my husband went with his chick in the living room.
Howdy Juanita, dude, like a beautiful white girl.
Yeah, and then I was in the bedroom with him, and we had done girl on girl because I was at the stage where I was curious still, and she was curious. We were both brand new, like we were the first couple for each of us that we had met.
Mm-hmm.
And
they
then,
were great, yeah.
So that took several dates to get there, and then the first night, we all said, okay, well, next day we're gonna go full swap. Yeah. We're gonna do the whole thing, and that's when the guy.
Episode 13, we
freaked out.
discuss it. Episode 13 on the podcast. It was a failed full swap day. They stole our chips, and then we met again. We tried to repair it, man. But here I am listening to some sad rancheras afterwards because she was hot, man. I was like, well, I don't care how emotional they were together, but this is hottie Juanita, blonde hair, the pretty feet, the whole thing, man. And I was like, we met. It was like we were being called into the supervisor's office, bro.
Right.
Like he was like, I think we all need to talk about this. So
he
showed
said
up.
that?
We showed up to a meeting.
Like a debrief.
And he was like, I don't think we can hang out with you guys anymore. And I'm like, you could have just said that by phone, and you could drive down, pay for parking, dude. Like we met at the Grove in West Hollywood. And here I'm listening to all the sad Conjunto Primavera, dude, all the sad songs, like, because then now the girl, I can't have access to her anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, but the guy had a good thing going, but it was the emotional component was too much. You had mentioned emotion.
Yeah,
sometimes that's tough, man.
For me, sex is sex. Yeah. When it comes down to sex, and I've told this guy, you know what? But it's the emotion outside of that relationship. Mm-hmm. The emotion, the friendship that's built.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, that's the deterring factor in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, how do you control that though? Like, how is that a thing?
I think before you answer that, because we talked about this earlier, I think that I understand when you say sex is sex.
And he knows what.
No, but I mean, like, sex is sex to me too.
Yeah.
But I don't think it could be a swinger, at least not with a spouse or somebody who's means a lot to me.
Right.
Because I'm a very jealous person. Yeah. And
I saw you when I took the last jarrito. You were like, you're going to take the last jarrito, dude? The tutti frutti one, dude?
Tutti frutti one? No, I don't think
you gave me that ojo, dude. Like, what's going on here?
But I heard you're trained and shit, so I don't want to mess with your ass.
Dude, we're lovers, not fighters. That's why we have this heavy case for...
yeah, I just don't think I could be a swinger.
You wouldn't be able to...
I don't think I could be a swinger with somebody that I have emotions, that I feel emotionally attached to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that if there was a girl that I wasn't emotionally attached to, I wouldn't mind experiencing that with.
Got it.
But I think, like for example, if I was in a relationship where I had strong emotions for that person, I couldn't do it. Because I'd fucking definitely be like, what the fuck?
But what would be the factor there? Would it be the physical, the jealousy? Or would it be because you're scared emotionally that they might get attached to someone else?
It would have to do emotionally.
You think that she may find someone else hotter or more attractive?
No. It's not even. It's not the physical. It's not the emotional. It's not the sexual side. It's the emotional part.
Got it.
It's more like I don't know how to explain it, but I just don't.
I get what you're saying. Like you're scared that emotionally they'll get attached to someone else.
Yeah. Emotionally,
it's a valid fear.
No.
Very valid.
Physically, no. I think I'm pretty comfortable where I'm like. I think I told you guys earlier, like, have I ever, hell yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who doesn't?
Would you fantasize about?
Yeah.
Well, I do fantasize about, threesomes, fucking.
Yeah.
Sex is
normal.
sex.
Yeah.
Sex is sex.
Right.
But, like I said, if it was somebody that I loved, dude, I couldn't do that shit. I just couldn't do it. So, leads to my question.
Yeah.
What advice do you guys have for people, or like some of our listeners, that are considering or have for example, hidden thoughts about this stuff, the lifestyle?
I think 100% of the people listening in have had naughty thoughts at some point or another. Some people more than others. My wife will masturbate in the bed in the morning, and she'll tell me, I'm still sleeping, she's masturbating herself. I think it's all about experiences. Like, you can go to a fine restaurant, and do you want to experience that with that love of your life? There's a restaurant that we love. It's in MGM Grand. It's called Joel Robuchon. It's badass. It's a beautiful room. Yeah. The guy won like 31 Michelin stars, rated. He's not around anymore.
Like the highest rated chef.
Yeah,
ever.
And if you could think about an experience that you would want to share with the most important person in your life, it's that same, it's like the roller coaster theme park effect. When you were young, you'd go to Disneyland or Magic Mountain, and someone who you didn't really feel attracted to, because you rode the roller coaster together, and the height of emotions and the screaming and the knowing that you were out there having a good time, you started feeling like, oh wow, this person, hey, they're kind of cool. Or you peak at an emotion. So it's all about experiences. So if someone is too emotional, where they're saying already, can't do it, I'm too emotional, well, that's the truth to them at that moment. Doesn't mean it's always going to be the truth to them at that moment. But if you want to have the experiences of a lifetime, like for example, we were just at this restaurant. I like almost cry in this place because I'm having a beautiful time with my wife. Beautiful menu. The service is impeccable. It's like European style. Bread cart, butter, like everything's described to you. My napkin dropped within 2 seconds. They brought me a new one. It's that type of place, right? Le Cirque at Bellagio is another good one. But it's about heightened experiences. How many of those heightened experiences would you like to have with the love of your life? The lifestyle and swinging is one heightened experience. You don't have to experience it, just like you don't have to go to the fancy restaurant because it is pricey. But she gets it free because she gambles enough. It's $500 a person, dude. Yeah. And that's not including wine. Right. But it's 12 courses. But it's not about the restaurant. It's not a commercial for the restaurant. What I'm saying is about high peak emotional circumstances. How many of those do you want to experience with the love of your life? Depending on how many years you're here for, it's a choice. So it's what else do you want to add about the emotional component and the heightened experiences and advice for people who may be considering it?
I have to say that I am with the love of my life. I know that my husband is like I said, my king. And I couldn't possibly feel the same way I feel about him, about some like random dude. You know what I mean? One night for 90 minutes is not going to establish that kind of emotional connection that the years we have together as, soul flames and twin flames.
It's a temporary experience in the lifestyle. If you're swapping, it lasts, like my lady said, like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Maybe a little longer if you guys all hang out, but
and
it's no one's trying to take anyone's spouse away. It doesn't happen. Maybe in a horror story someone would mention, but that's because they started a lifestyle on a really awful foundation.
Yeah.
I mean...
And if I had thought about a man that, is part of a couple that we'd been with again later on, that's lust. That might last maybe for a couple weeks, and then that, if we don't see them again, that dies down. She tells
me to find a girl in Vegas all the time. Yeah. She's like, I want to go smoke a cigar and play slots or something. You take her upstairs. I don't even want to be there.
Like, I want to be like you meet her in the lounge for a drink. I'll smoke a cigar while you guys from across the room. I'll watch you guys chit chat, and then I want to watch you take her up to the room and leave with her. I don't. At this point in our relationship, even when we started the lifestyle, there was no one else for me in terms of my husband, my man. The people we meet, some of them are friends, some of them we don't see again. A lot of times it just ends up being one meet, because if we're in Vegas and they're from a different state, out of town, what are the chances you're going to see each other again? Very rare. So there are a couple people that you meet often, but that does not happen a lot. Like, you might see people at events that go, like, to party at lifestyle clubs and the hotel takeovers, and you're like, hey, you'll toast and say, hey, what's up, how you doing, have you been? But the chance of, like, really falling in love with someone else and having, the fear that you're going to lose your spouse over a swap, like a one-night thing, that doesn't really come up for me.
Yeah, I would caution people, if you're fearful about someone taking your wife away, Mr. Steal Your Girl, or if you're fearful about your wife finding someone else more attractive, then it's just a reality check. There's nothing wrong with it. It's an evolution, and we're all traveling at a different speed in our journey. I would say that if that person can find a way to minimize the energy that they're attaching to that thought, they can focus on other things that would be better for them, that'd be more ecological for them, good for all areas of their life. Okay, ya se me sudó la mano. And you're grabbing me like you want to push my head down there.
Passion.
You want me to go down there? And
I saw the evolution of
I
it.
know,
I was like,
she's
damn,
like-
they're like very...
How do you say amenazar?
me estás amenazando, güey. Right?
You talking about another chick?
Yeah, she's like, go with that chick. No, so yeah, I think it's a very important, and here's the thing. If someone says this is true for me, it's true for them, no matter what anyone else says. It's something in our consciousness where that is very real for them. You have friends that'll say like, hey, don't be a, let's go to the gym. No, bro, I need to eat. It's like, let's just go. But that person's experiencing real low blood sugar for them, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. But so we can't diminish what someone else is feeling, but we can tell them that there's a better side of it. Yeah. There's a better way to calculate what you could do and have fun. Doesn't mean you need to start swinging. Doesn't mean you need to go out and start doing naughty things. It just means that if there's a blockage in your emotional construct, if there's something going on that's keeping you from believing that you could swing successfully, then that similar thought is keeping you back in real life. Somehow. You might not be conscious of it, but it'll be a self-sabotaging circular pattern. Like if you ever fly airplanes, I don't know if you guys ever flew airplanes, but you're just in a holding pattern. If the tower tells you to wait or whatever. So it's not good or bad. It just is. So again, we're not here to convince anyone to become a swinger, or we just wanted to shed some light. I know you guys had some really good questions, man, about it, and I know we talked about a lot of them, and hopefully the listeners are thinking, hey, man, give me a little bit of clarity, a little bit of value, listening to this show, and they can decide for themselves whether it's something they want to experience or not, man.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of them are gonna tune into you guys' podcast.
Priory Society Podcast on every podcast engine, and just check it out, man. I mean, we're goofy, man. We have a good time. We'll pour a drink and we'll just talk about certain topics, and we'll tell people best practices, what to do, what not to do. Be careful with this. Red flags to look for. What to do, how to increase the flirt so that you can actually get to bed with these people and get naked and make it fun.
Yeah.
So we like to have a lot of fun there, and again, we'll just spend our time laughing, really, but we'll cover some substance too.
Yeah, we try to impart a learning lesson of some kind
with
each episode. That's why sometimes it takes us a while. We don't just sit down and hit record.
Yeah.
We think about, okay, what topic do we want to talk about? What can we teach our listeners? What benefit could come from it, from our experience?
Good takeaways.
You take away, or if we do an interview with another couple, that we do a lot. Those are really popular episodes.
Yeah, people love hearing other people.
Yeah, learning from their experiences. How they got started, what they went through. It just we try to just dig in and see how we can help. Like I said earlier, shorten the learning curve. If somebody is interested in starting in the lifestyle, then they'll have a better foot forward.
Religious guilt too.
Oh yeah.
We've interviewed a lot of pastors.
Yeah.
A lot of people who grew up in the church.
Yeah,
and we grew up in the church
worship leaders
too. And we, there's a lot of guilt too from that. Social upbringing, guilt from parents, guilt from society.
Yeah.
What societal norms are, you shouldn't think about that. In addition to, te va a tragar la tierra, or te va a salir el diablo, el cucuy, or you do these bad things, be careful, that's against every good thing, right? And if you think about it, I mean, from our religious background, a sin is a sin is a sin. So if you think about it, you've committed the same sin as if you've done it. So at least have a pleasurable time if you're going to sin. Because if you're already thinking about it and it's just as bad as the other sin of overeating, of lusting, of whatever it is, I think you should at least have a little fun and you just get cleansed up on Sunday when you go to service. I mean, isn't that Sunday? It's a cleansing day.
Repent
and cleanse it and start again.
Yeah.
Going to
start again
on Monday. I don't know.
All right.
You think we need to do a words of wisdom, or we're good? I think he was just dropping a lot of.
You want to intro it, and you can use that or whatever.
So, because we usually end our show on a segment where we call it Words of Wisdom, where we have our guests say something
that they live by, that they do on a daily basis,
Ooh.
that it brings benefit to your life, or it could bring benefit to our listeners.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So in this case, we got 2 people. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have the same words of wisdom, or you want to combine them, or you each individual want
A
to do
little
their
word
own?
of advice, word of wisdom.
Yeah.
Sweetie?
I mean, I think I would say if you're in a relationship and you are unhappy somehow, or you're not feeling fulfilled sexually, that you don't have to start swinging necessarily, but I think you should open the lines of communication with your partner. And if you want to spice things up, try different things. And I know a lot of people will get stuck in a routine, or
Right.
because you have young kids, you got to make it quick. Like you don't always have a lot of time, or you got to be quiet and sneak
Right.
around. And so because of life circumstances, things can get a little stale and a little rusty. So if that's the case, you should really try to put some time and effort and focus on that part of your relationship, because it is really important to your overall happiness. Not like you're going to leave your spouse or whatever just because things got routine, but I think more people should really put more time and effort into like their sexual satisfaction. And if you want to do that, you start planting the seed about at least just fantasizing a little bit, maybe trying role play.
Say something.
Say
This
something.
feels good, honey.
Yeah.
Try doing
Talk
this a
to
little bit
them.
more.
Yeah.
Because
Talk
even
to
if, like you said, sweetie, if they don't go live, they'll benefit from it.
Yeah. I think that'll bring people closer, even if they don't try to go live in the lifestyle. If they just spice things up and make that a point to do that in their own relationship, they'll be a lot happier people.
Can I
walking
add
around.
something to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
This would be my part.
Well, yeah,
of
you
it.
can have your own. Yeah, you can have your own.
Yeah. The most important thing that your listeners could do is work on showcasing their best qualities and becoming a better version of who they currently are.
Yeah.
So your hero shouldn't. It's good to have your heroes, the basketball player, the celebrity, but your hero should be you when you were a kid, right? And appease that person. So the lifestyle can turn up the heat on your sensual side. But if you do try the lifestyle in the future and you're already becoming the best version of yourself, that means you're going to hit the gym. You're going to eat well. You're going to get checked out. You're going to make sure everything's good. You're becoming more attractive for the love of your life. So even if you never swing, you're healthier for your kids and you're taking care of yourself for your spouse. But if you do swing, you're hotter for the potential couples. So now you don't have to stay like at the Walmart level. You can see other couples that
Go to
are
Macy's
Target,
or
a little nicer, Nordstrom Rack,
Costco.
regular Nordstrom lead store, right? There's different couples and how they think and how they act and how attractive they are to you. So the ultimate message is focus on impressing your current wife or spouse.
Yeah.
And by becoming the most powerful, the most successful, the funniest, the healthiest version of yourself.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice. That's great information for everybody. Like even like you said right now, just being healthy. I think that's huge for ourselves, for our family. So
Longevity, man.
Oh,
I mean, just
Yeah.
It's good for productivity. It's good for everything.
for la chamba too. I mean, you got to be good
Yeah, for
when you're out there
sure.
working, dude.
for sure. Where can everybody find you guys? You guys have an Instagram. You guys have obviously on
You guys
the.
have a
We do,
podcast.
sweetie.
Yeah.
Well, where can they find you? Like, what is? I mean, we know where we found you, but
Find us walking around the alley.
we're in a pineapple shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's how you spotted us. So our website is priorysociety.com. That's PRIORY society.com. And our Twitter, Instagram handles at
Same.
Priory Society.
Priory Society,
So
yeah.
and we're on every podcast.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Perfect. So make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you check
Yeah.
out their podcast. They got a lot of information, great information like you guys got today.
And if
So.
they have any questions, I'm sure that they're willing to answer them on
We
their.
welcome the questions. Have them send them to you. We're happy to
Sure.
come back if you'd have
Oh,
us
yeah,
after all
of
this
course.
conversation.
I'll have the cigars
Q&A.
next time for sure.
Cigars, and
the
we'll
whiskey,
answer all the
yes.
questions that people may have. Why not?
Perfect. Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Thank
Well-
you. Well, you
Well,
want to say?
thank you for coming. I
It's
want to
a
say thank
pleasure.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks for the invite.
you. Okay.
It was fun.
Thank you guys.